welcome to Writers Blockbusters, the show where we treat the final edit of the movie like the script. I'm one of your hosts, Bob Rose, at Thundergrunt Bob on social media. And right now, Jamie's going to introduce himself.
I'm Jamie Nash. I am the writer of Save the Cat Writes for TV, the Save the Cat PG workbook, and Save the Cat Writes Horror. I forgot if I said horror or TV already. And a writer of a bunch of movies. Oh, Lovely Molly is now on Tubi. Check out Lovely Molly on Tubi.
Awesome, Jimmy.
And you know what? Lovely Molly
sorry.
was out of... No, I just thought the hype Lovely Molly. Lovely Molly, you couldn't see anywhere for several years. Like the distributor deal fell apart, and then somehow it's back, and now it's on Tubi. So there you go.
Damn. All right.
Watch it.
Check out your local Tubi listings.
Yes.
Local Tubi.
I am Jimmy George. I'm a screenwriter and script consultant, and you can find me at scriptbutcher.com.
Okay, and today before we get into our discussion topics, we're going to go around and just say what we thought about the new Spider-Man movie. We haven't done Marvel in a long bit. Like, if any of our listeners haven't noticed, we have kind of shied away from the comic book movie thing for lots of reasons. I think the homework was a lot of them because, it became a TV show and stuff. But this movie made
what was the
almost
last one we did? Was it
I don't know.
Spider-Man?
I think it was Spider-Man.
It might have been Spider-Man 2 or
No Way
the
Home.
animated.
Oh, we might have done 2 in between there. Yeah.
We did do
I think
2.
we did 2 for No Way Home. I think that's what we did. But this movie made almost $1 billion, as I'm sure Jamie has already brought up. But that's why we're doing it, if we're honest with you.
I don't know why I'm laughing. I guess I'm just like, of course it made $1 billion.
Almost. In the opening weekend. That not over in the opening weekend. So it was actually my fault because I was like, guys, Blockbusters in our title.
Yeah.
It's 2026. Avoiding this would be impossible. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's really almost made $2 billion. It's at
Right.
1.17 right now.
Yeah. So we're still at the general beginning of its run.
Yep.
That's unthinkable. That's unthinkable in 2026.
By the way, just since we brought it up, why don't we just do box office? Even we'll throw it off a little bit. So the thing I just brought up today, it's 1.9 billion as of today. So it's almost to 2 billion in like week 3 or whatever it's at. This
week 2, isn't it?
This week will be, I think, week 3.
I
think this is the third Friday it's been out. Brand New Day is at. So these are what I did was I listed for my list today. I just did the Spider-Man franchise just to kind of see where this movie ranked. Brand New Day was 1.8 billion, so it's already surpassed that. Spider-Man Far From Home was 1.13 worldwide. Number 4, yeah,
was the first one you said No Way Home?
Yes. You know what?
You said Brand New Day again.
That's what it was. So
we're all confused.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So I brought up a list, and I guess this list doesn't include the new one. So anyway, let's go back. Spider-Man No Way Home is at 1.92. Spider-Man 2 is at 1.8. Spider-Man Far From Home is 1.13. Number 4, this one kind of surprised me. Spider-Man 3 is the number 4 all time at 896 million. Homecoming 878. Spider-Man, the first Raimi movie, is at 823. Spider-Man 2 2004 was 797 million. And then you have the Amazing Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, and then you have the Spider-Verse movies come after that. So that's it. That's your list.
Jeez.
Is
Your dog likes
Spider-Man
the Spider-Man movies?
Yeah, the dog
Jamie.
likes the Spider-Man. Spider-Man, I mean, like, where we sit today, it's without question, without a doubt, that Spider-Man is the most profitable comic book IP ever. Right? I mean, like, is there any, unless you count Avengers, I guess?
Where does Batman fit? Because Batman always lands. I'd have to look
Batman. I think the Batman crossed $1 billion. I'm pretty sure.
No, none of them have ever hit 2 billion. I don't think.
No,
this is great trivia. By the way, we did do No Way Home in April of 2022. So we
And we did Spider-Man 2 as well.
We
Sam
did.
Raimi's Spider-Man 2.
We've
And we
done
did
so many
Spider-Verse.
episodes we can't fucking keep up.
Yeah, I know. We did Into the Spider-Verse, we did Spider-Man 2, we did No Way Home, right?
Yeah, so this is the fourth
Yeah.
Spider-Man movie we're doing.
This is Writers Blockbusters Spider-Man 4 to make it more confusing.
So just to throw, since you brought up the question, the Batman franchise, the biggest Batman movie is Dark Knight Rises, according to this list, at 1 billion. Yeah, that made
Spider-Man
yeah
surpasses Batman even.
Mhm.
And then you got to throw in the fact that Spider-Man's in Avengers movies.
Yeah. So
you know what I mean? There's
technically-
nothing that comes close to Spider-Man. I'm like that's unthinkable.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, the Batman franchise only has 4 movies over 500 million worldwide,
Wow.
and then the rest of them are all below 500 million.
Jesus. All right. Well, okay. First, let's talk about our personal reaction to the movie. Let's start with Jimmy.
Okay. So one of the reasons I'm gonna sound like I'm down on this movie more than I actually am. But
Yeah.
whatever. It's my turn on the mic. The one of the reasons we haven't done many MCU after Endgame is because of me, because I shut it down when it comes time. And I know that we're gonna do Doomsday, which we're 4 months away from. I mean, we're gonna do it.
I never said we had to.
No, we
point
should
that
do
out.
it.
Maybe we'll do The Rock and Doom or whatever. Wasn't he in a Doom movie? Yeah.
that would be such a great twist.
Like we get it wrong and we
it's Doom Day.
It's our Doomsday. We're doing Doom.
God. Yeah, I feel I'm not really into the MCU anymore. Like Bob said, the homework.
Yeah, the homework.
And the thing for me is when they decided that they were going to do Thanos, right? That they were going to turn it into the saga. All the choices, the crossovers, the cameos, the end credit stuff, and they were so sophisticated and interesting, and they like enhanced all the movies. And now I feel like it's turned into like, now what it reminds me of is like, do you guys remember Must See TV in the 90s when like Joey from Friends would show up somewhere on another NBC show and like the George Clooney and Noah Wyle from ER were playing their doctor characters on Friends, and it was just like, oh, it's like a big joke.
Mhm.
Now I feel like anytime there's a crossover, it's a joke, which is why for me, like when the Punisher showed up, that first scene feels very, I mean, obviously it's supposed to have like a lightheartedness to it, to their relationship, but it felt like it took me out of it. Like, oh my, and the same thing with the pool scene. I was like, what? Like, cause it's such a wink now. Like, yeah, from the other one. Whereas before it was like really interesting. So that distracts me. The other thing that distracts me, I'm just like distracted by the cultural aspect of it all. Like it is so weird to me that they cast Max as 11 basically. Like every time she was using powers, I was like, this is such a weird choice. Like it feels like a deliberate zeitgeist conversation. Like, oh, we're gonna cast Max as 11. She's gonna be Vecna now. Isn't that clever? And so like every time Sadie Sink was doing anything that was remotely like 11, I was so distracted. I was like, this is you. They had to sit there and talk about this. Like
it had to be discussed for
what
sure.
What if we made Max 11 and Vecna? And I know that those characters from Stranger Things are just like references and amalgams of like Jean Grey, you know, and characters like that from culture. But I was so distracted by all of that stuff, by the Easter eggs, by the crossovers, by the Sadie Sink being cast as 11, that it messed with my viewing, and that's really, my fault, not the movies.
I didn't even think about the Sadie Sink
Oh,
thing.
dude, it's all it took me out every time she started to use her powers. I was like, she's 11. Oh, so they talked about this. They were like, everybody who loves Stranger Things is gonna be like, what the fuck? Like they had to, so all those scenes for me feel like they're like winking to the Stranger Things audience, like, which is like another thing that like makes me emotionally disconnect from it. So anyway, the movie itself, like, there's a lot I love about it. There's a lot of like great moments and fun, awesome stuff in it. But I do think it's a bit messy for a couple reasons that I put on the list that are like very common in other blockbuster movies we've talked about that have been messy. I'm going to reference a lot of episodes that I didn't expect to be referencing when watching the movie. So like I had fun, but like it was a bit of a mess for me.
Cool. Jamie?
Yeah, I have a weird, I don't even know how to describe. I kind of like this movie. I think unlike Jimmy, I'm not distracted at all because I don't care about any of that stuff anymore. Like I've given up on that stuff like so long ago. Like I don't even care that I don't even understand what's going on at times. I just kind of, it doesn't affect. It's like kind of, it's the way I used to read comic books. Because in the 80s, I'd read a comic book. And you'd read a Spider-Man comic book, and there was all this weird stuff going on, and they'd put a little bubble that said, read Fantastic Four number 17 or something, and you just be like, I'm not going back and reading that. I'm just, I assume
Just accept it. Yeah.
I just accept it. That's kind of the way I feel about these movies at this point. The Sadie Sink thing, like I feel the same way about Stranger Things. I love the first season. After that, I didn't care too much. It was all a bunch of stretched out nothing to me. So for me, I was like, I'm able to just kind of understand it for what it is. And I thought this movie actually, if you sat down and watched it, did a very good job of being a standalone story. I in a weird sort of way, kind of like a season 2 of a series. You could almost jump into season 2 and skip season 1. As long as you kind of get the basics of what happened. Because I barely remember what happened in the last Spider-Man movie. I remember the whole thing where he made everybody forget him.
That's all you need, really.
I remember
they gave you that in the
They gave it to you.
They gave it to you.
It was perfect.
I remember Tobey Maguire and those guys. That's about all. And the rest in Doctor Strange and whatever. But I don't remember any of the details or anything of the last one, really. So this one I was able to kind of sit down and like, I thought they did a really good job of making it a standalone, was my experience. Like I was actually impressed by that. I was like, yeah, I'm not bored because I don't remember. I'm not because I don't care about the rest of the franchise. I didn't feel like I needed to. My sister, I always talk to her and my brother-in-law who never read a comic book in their lives, right? They don't know any of this stuff. And they go see all these movies. They saw Spider-Man and they really liked it. And I don't think they had any idea. In fact, their son was making fun of them because they didn't, like, he wants to say like, oh, that's Jean Grey and she's this and that. And they have no idea. And he gets frustrated by that with them. Like what? You can't, how can you enjoy this if you don't? But they probably enjoy it more than he does because he's like trying to, he has all these expectations and baggage and all this other stuff he brings into it where they're just sitting down saying, entertain me. And the things they're seeing, like, when I was talking to my sister about it this week, because I told her I finally went and saw it, she was like, those scenes with the Hulk were really cool, or whatever. How they did like the swinging and all that. And because there's some really great Spider-Man action in this, like that kind of, as people that like us that have seen all these movies and you really can't impress us anymore. It really has evolved that those Spider-Man swinging scenes are pretty good. They're pretty well done at this point. So I don't know. There's a lot. So my experience was I probably enjoyed this one. I'm trying to think. It might even be my second favorite of the Tom Holland ones. And surprisingly, my first favorite is the first one, just because it was fresh and new. I thought the last one was so like let's show Tobey Maguire, let's do a Wish, let's do all this kind of stuff. That to me, it was fun, but I thought this one had a better story, like cohesive story to it. So in some ways, I don't know, this could be my second favorite of this bunch. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was like the standalone story. I wasn't worried about the connective tissue. For me, as an old school reader of X-Men and stuff, having it be Jean Grey, that's the only weird thing for me, is like, how are they doing the X-Men? And this is Jean Grey. And, that part of it like messed with me a little bit. But other than that, I was like, fine to accept it. Now, the one thing I will put out, Jimmy, that you pointed out, that the cameos that they put in do feel a little, and they're not even cameos. They do feel a little shameless. It feels like they probably sit around and say, who can we get for this one? Ruffalo, are you available? Yeah. And Ruffalo's like, yeah, I can do it. I need the cash. And they're like, okay, we'll write him in.
He doesn't need the cash.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, okay, Ruffalo does not need the money.
Ruffalo's
No,
like,
but he's thematic,
No.
which we're gonna
No.
get to. But
No,
In fact, I would think Marvel doesn't want him to do the movie because they don't want him on the press
all
tour.
their rights issues.
No, they don't want him on the press tour.
I
He was
guarantee
suppressed from
you-
being on the press tour because he'll talk about politics.
I guarantee you,
They don't want him
Ruffalo's-
in the movie.
Ruffalo's saying
That's the
sending
director's decision. That's the
Ruffalo's-
creative decision.
Ruffalo's sending them emails every day. Can I get in Spider-Man? Hey, what about this new?
No,
Yes,
it's not
he's
happening.
totally. He's like, can I get the new Ant-Man thing or something? He's like every day. 'Cause he
I love
needs
the image
cash.
of Mark Ruffalo begging to be in Marvel.
Yeah,
movies.
Yeah, he
he's-
needs the work.
He
Yeah,
needs the
right.
work. He is
Mark
because
Ruffalo. Of
Mark-
all people.
Mark Ruffalo is an actor. If he didn't need the work, he wouldn't be doing it. He needs the money. He's cashing
I mean,
that check. He is of all of them, he's like an Oscar contender guy. He needs the money. He's knocking on their door. He wants in. He's like, get me in that Spider-Man joint. I need a cool mill.
Are you doing a
$2 million.
bit?
No, this is my take. This is my take.
No way.
They're not shoveling Mark Ruffalo. We've seen the Hawk enough. They
That
put
is
so
an
many cool
absolute
in.
creative decision. He does not need this, and they don't want him to do the press tour.
So
he
that whole
didn't do any interviews for the movie.
we don't want him to do the press tour. That's a work. That is a total work. He's dropping those bombs to get people talking about stuff on the internet and rage bait people like Bob, who's on the. It's a work, man. You're getting worked. You're a Mark. So
It's fine.
and then the Punisher, like, to me, he's in a different genre than these other characters. He doesn't even make sense in these movies to me as the Punisher. He makes sense in the comic book, like, because they kind of comic book him up. But I don't know. I'll admit, I've skipped like the last couple of Punisher seasons and stuff. I watched the first one, so maybe it's changed. But even here with a machine gun shooting and stuff, I'm like, it feels like a different genre. Like, you're not going to put him in, hopefully he doesn't end up in Secret Wars because he's dead in 2 seconds. Right.
Right. Yeah.
But
he's human. He's a normal.
but anyway,
human.
all these little cameos and stuff, I do feel like Jimmy's point is well taken with that. It didn't bug me at all. Like, I was cool with everything in the movie. Like, I get what it is, but when you say it, I do feel like they're just kind of like,
you're feeling
randomly
what I'm
picking
feeling is what you're saying in the
Yeah,
in
I
the
feel-
moment.
I
Yeah.
feel like they're randomly picking some people to.
Well,
get
hold
some
on a
heat.
minute. Well, let me
no,
respond.
wait, no, that's on the talking points. It's not random.
It's not random at all. Well, number one, it's not random because there's actually story stuff
But
involved.
Bob,
in all
you
of
gotta
them.
say what you feel. This is great.
Well, yeah,
We're a
I didn't want to
mess.
respond to Jimmy or anything, but I don't feel like you guys at all about this stuff. If I'm honest, like number
Good.
one, the Stranger Things thing, Jimmy, that is so out of left field for me. She's an actress. That's like an old
Yeah,
that's like an old woman saying, "Oh, I like them in that other thing they did."
I would have felt
Like,
if
they're an
it,
actor; they do other stuff.
if it was Millie Bobby Brown as that
Then
role,
it would
I might
be
have felt
I
the
could
same
see
way.
that
I would
being
have
a
been like, oh my
problem.
god, she's playing the same thing every movie.
But Sadie
yeah.
Sink's just an actress. She can
Yeah.
get other jobs. If I didn't even remotely register to me, I was like, "Oh, they just made her 11." I didn't even.
I mean,
I thought
it's
she's
all I
from
could
that
think
other
of.
thing, but I don't know. Here's the thing: is like whenever I watch movies with old people and they're like, "Oh, I love that guy in the other thing," and I'm like, "Shut the fuck up!" dude." Like they're fucking actors, man. Anyway, I'm not trying to criticize your feelings there, Jay.
no,
I'm just
it's
saying,
fine.
I never even considered that. Now, like for me, the number one, these do not count as cameos straight up. I disagree with you guys. If you say cameo, these are not cameos. Okay, maybe you could
Yeah,
argue
well,
the Hulk, but that is not a cameo.
By
in
the
my
way,
opinion.
you can get Ruffalo to do a cameo for you for your birthday for like
Yeah,
$500. He needs the money. He needs
He'll do
money.
a happy birthday.
Yeah.
These are not cameos. They're
Yeah,
not cameos. They
that
don't
was a
count
poor
as cameos. That's like saying that in No Way Home everyone was cameoing.
Yeah, good call.
These are part of the movie. Straight up, they're characters. Especially Frank is a character in this movie.
Big time.
100%.
Yeah.
This is not just him showing up and waving and be like, "The Punisher's here." It's not happening. He's there for a thematic reason.
I wish he did do that.
I know, it'd be amazing. I wish they did just have people walk by the frame and just wait.
Stan Lee used to do that for many years.
Stan Lee. Right. That's a cameo.
Yes.
Stan Lee is a cameo.
I poorly labeled it. Sorry.
Yeah. These are, you could say they're choices of why. I feel like I think both of those are actually thematic choices.
I think they're guest spots.
That's fine. Yeah, that's whatever we're calling them. They're not cameos. I just want to say that straight up.
The weird thing is with the Spider-Man thing, there's a tradition of these guest spots, and that's what makes them even more.
That's what I was going to say. There
me.
is I don't think that this movie requires homework, which is great about it, but we've gotten to a point, and I'd say it's actually kind of a good thing, especially with Spider-Man. We gotten to a point where we're actually mimicking the good things about comics, where you can actually have a writer bring in a character from the universe for a thematic reason.
I agree.
And use them properly. Like, this movie is almost more of a big summer special comic book arc for Spider-Man thing than most stuff we've ever gotten from the MCU. This is kind of what reading comics was.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What I mean?
100%. And comic books have guest spots. I mean, they do.
Yeah, that's part of it. Now,
Hawk flies in one episode. They battle over a Twinkie or whatever, and then they leave.
Yeah, Twinkie. But here's the thing: is that wouldn't be good if it didn't make any sense. And I don't know. I saw it 3 times.
Yeah,
and
no, it makes sense.
I wouldn't have seen it 3 times for this if it wasn't for this show. But I did see it with a lot of people who could give a rat's patoot about anything happening, and they all really enjoyed it and loved it. Yeah. And some of them were like 70 in their 70s and stuff, our age too, and they don't care about any of this, and they all enjoyed it. Yep. So to me, it's like the fact that all of it worked for people like Jamie. You said I don't think it's distracting to the normal person. They just sort of they're not caring about the connective tissue anymore.
Like I said, it's my second favorite of the bunch. I get it. I get it how it all works. I still think Mark Ruffalo needs money.
Yeah, right. No, I think this might be my favorite Tom Holland easily. I like all of them, but I was never on any of them. My favorite Tom Holland, maybe my 4th favorite Spider-Man movie. Really, I'm not a Spider-Man guy, but I think Spider-Man has the best movies of all the big ones. And I say that as a Superman diehard. I think Spider-Man has the best movies. So this is I'm saying my 4th favorite. I guess really like it. But there is the fact that if you kind of grew up with comics, this is where we actually were supposed to land, not what we were doing in the last 5 years. This feels like how they're almost, it's you could argue that they kind of don't care about the continuity of the Hulk in this. I thought Bruce Banner was already comfortable with Smart Hulk, he didn't have to suppress it or anything. Now it's just forget that. Here's where he is in this story.
Yes.
And if you don't care about that, this works. So let's just throw it away. And as far as the Punisher, Jamie, I had the only thing I said was with the Punisher is I actually love the performance and the camaraderie between them.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, it's one of those things where when you read comics, you have to go, I just have to accept what the Punisher is, because and that Peter is not arresting him or taking him down. Instead, he's being friends with him. I just have to accept the comic bookiness of that, because if I think about it for 5 minutes, it is nuts for him to just be friends with Frank, right? It's nuts because it's Frank Castle. When he's not in this movie, the things he's doing are atrocious. So right. Anyway, but I did really I think I liked it more than you guys, and I liked it in general, even not being a Spider-Man dude. So not that you guys said you were Spider-Man guys, but he was never my favorite. So
when I when I go back to when I was a kid, and there wasn't like a ton of stuff out there when I was a kid. It was like $6 Million Man and Evil Knievel, or
bring
something.
them back. They should be the MCU.
Yeah, when I was growing up, like that, they were my superheroes for the most part. But Spider-Man and Batman were my big two. Like I had all Spider-Man toys, and Spider-Man was probably my favorite because of his running commentary, his comedicness during battle, and whatever. He had a sense of humor. And that's the one thing I really appreciate with the Tom Holland stuff is he does seem to have that sense of humor, that part is captured. So he was probably my favorite superhero growing up. I'm not sure now, if looking back, if it's still that way, but maybe I like Batman a little more just because of the rogues gallery. The villains make the heroes sometimes too. So
I think when you grow older too, you tend to like characters that are around your age.
Yeah, I never
Spider-Man's
liked
a young person's character.
Like Iron Man, I had zero interest in until the MCU, and he's kind of the coolest guy in the MCU in some ways sometimes. So
my favorite Spider-Man is probably Jake Johnson in Spider-Verse because he's old and fat and depressed. And like that's kind of like, finally I kind of relate to Spider-Man now. I want that guy. I want Tobey Maguire old now.
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
I love that.
Yeah, that's what I would love.
I go all the way back to the Electric Company. There was a TV show that was kind of like this PBS TV show where they used to have these little segments where Spider-Man would jump in for a few minutes, and everybody would go crazy because the show was so boring and educational, except for the Spider-Man segment. So, and then there was a Spider-Man TV show that I watched religiously when it came on back in those days. That was pretty terrible, probably, but I still remember the music. It was like, wow, 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 wow. Did you guys watch this?
No, I remember. Yeah.
Okay. It had this weird theme song.
Also, I wanted the last.
I just want to hear Jamie.
Jamie just sing that.
Jamie, you should just keep bringing that back for every talking point.
That and Mark Ruffalo. No, the one thing I was going to say to Jamie too is like I feel like this movie was them finally answering all the criticisms of the first three movies, where Spider-Man kind of feels like he has no weight and he's too jokey and light, and this movie feels like it was like answering that criticism. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
A lot of people have said finally Tom Holland is Spider-Man now, like because of that.
Yeah,
that's like that's kind of the feeling of the response to this movie. I don't agree with that necessarily, and I also don't feel like this movie is dour or depressing in any way, even though it's dealing with some stuff.
Spider-Man also, there's like young kid Spider-Man, and then there's a lot more issues with kind of more young adult Spider-Man with photographer Spider-Man and making a living and stuff like that, and the struggles of making a living. And I think we're going more into that territory with Tom Holland at this point.
Right.
Even though there's no J. Jonah Jameson and there's no
bring him back.
Bring him back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's the Alex Jones of that universe, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We did box office, so the only thing left is who wrote this shit.
Who wrote this shit? Sponsored by McDonald's. No.
And Mark Ruffalo.
And Mark Ruffalo. So this was written by Chris McKenna and Eric Summers. And they've kind of become the writing team, I think, for these movies. I'm trying to remember looking up Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home, Brand New Day. So yeah, they've kind of become the team. They're an interesting duo. I'm not sure. Have we talked about these guys before? We
did. Yeah. Jumanji.
Okay. That's right.
We did. That was like our second episode, isn't it? Is it?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
wow. The classics.
They're like one of the first people we ever talked about.
Yep. So they met on American Dad. They were TV writers. And they weren't a team at that point. They met each other. I was reading a thing in like a script magazine oh, it was Bulletproof Screenwriting. I read this in that they met on American Dad, and McKenna pitched this idea of the characters searching for Oliver North's lost Contra gold or something. And Summers loved it, and they realized they were like had similar sensibilities. And they eventually became writing partners. They worked on Community, which they said between American Dad and Community, they learned to mix genres with comedy. And then they still worked on shows like Happy Endings, and Marry Me, which I know Happy Endings, I don't know Marry Me. And, then from there, they went on this run of, it's like Lego Batman. They did Spider-Man Homecoming. They did Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, Ant-Man and Wasp, Far From Home, No Way Home, Brand New Day.
Damn.
That's the run.
I mean, that's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
I mean, I like most of their movies, I think, except I didn't see Ghosted, but I heard it was not great. Probably not their fault.
Ghosted. What was Ghosted?
Ghosted, it was a streamer with Chris Captain America.
Oh,
It was like a streaming movie or something.
oh,
Yeah.
direct to Netflix.
It was no, I think Apple TV or something.
Okay.
I don't know. But I'm saying they have a very good I love Lego Batman.
Mhm.
Anyway,
No, it's great. It's great. Underrated, I think. I'm going to say underrated Lego Batman.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
But if you want to hear us talk more about them, listen to our second or third episode, somewhere in there. It's like one of the first things.
Man,
we
I
ever
wonder
talked
how
about.
different we sound. Holy shit!
Probably it was a different world, Jimmy.
Yeah, no.
Less
You can
polished
hear
and
the
raw.
hope in our
Yeah.
in our voice.
There was a future when we were talking back then. You guys want to talk about Act Ones?
Yeah. So when I was before I fell asleep in Act Two, no,
As soon as Mark Ruffalo showed up,
as soon as Ruffalo showed up,
collect
I
his
checked out. I was
paycheck.
like, oh, this guy again. Another paycheck movie for Ruffalo. Yeah. What I was really impressed with this movie, as I kind of alluded to, was I really felt like it does a good job as like a standalone movie, despite being in the middle of a bazillion other. It's in the middle of the Spider-Man franchise and the Spider-Man universe and the MCU and the build up to Doomsday and all this stuff. And to me, I felt like you could kind of just show up and watch this movie. And I think one of the big reasons it did that was because Act One was a traditional Act One. Like the fact that we've been with these characters for, all this time and everybody knows all this stuff about them, they still took the time to set up, we'll talk about the things that need fixing that, Peter, we'll talk about that in a minute. That, Peter has all these things that need fixing in his life. Like that was the setup of Act One. It shows us that he's kind of gone all in on Spider-Man and he's kind of leaving behind Peter and his longing, for to reconnect with his old life and stuff, but also a fear of reconnecting with his old life. So it sets all that stuff up. It gives us save the cat moments and rooting resume moments. He's a hero. He's funny. He's the best at what he does. He does, it doesn't just take for granted, oh, it's Spider-Man. People know Tom Holland. It actually gives us all kinds of scenes of him saving the cat, saving a kid and he making jokes and the cops like him. We see like the cop is actually kind of like impressed by him and we just see him doing all this stuff, but we also see how he's hurting and an underdog. So there's all this rooting resume material in Act One. And then on top of that, it gives us action sequences that serve as catalysts and break into two kind of moments. The action sequence, the whole stealing the tank, serves as the catalyst. It's this great action sequence. And that's something I've been kind of tracking, is like, if you're in a certain genre, I don't think this holds true all the time, but I think it's worth, if you're outlining your own, let's say you're making an action movie, let's say you're making a superhero movie, should your single scene beats, So, in Save the Cat terms, the catalyst, the break into two, the midpoint, should they be genre moments? And I think a lot of times they are. Now, maybe sometimes the midpoint isn't, or something. Maybe that's like a more personal moment. Maybe the opening image isn't, but usually it is. But it feels like opening image, catalyst, break into two, even midpoint most of the time, all is lost. Maybe sometimes not break into three, but most of those are big action sequences that sort of happen within your movie, or at least action moments. And in this movie, it's the same. It's the same. So here's the only thing I did want to bring up. And I do, well, do you want to talk about the things that need fixing before I get into like the break into two?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we do that?
So I wrote down some things that need fixing, but I want you both to help me with it, because last night I saw this movie I got out at 1:30 a.m. I got home and Jimmy was like, "We should do things that need fixing," and I jotted it down while my eyes were falling asleep. So I want Jamie and Jimmy.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, it might be a disaster. We'll see. But yeah, so things that need fixing. It's an exercise we've talked about before. We did it with Bloodsport. We did it with the Batman, right, Jimmy?
Yep.
Like those are big ones where we've talked about
those are some big ones. Yeah, we've done them a lot, but those
Bloodsport
two,
from the Suicide Squad, not the movie
Squad.
Bloodsport. Yeah, we should do Bloodsport.
Yes, I would love it so much.
Yeah, right.
We have no Van Damme movies on our catalog.
How dare we?
Gotta Time Cop, dude.
Right. Do all Van Damme week.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So things that need fixing. There's like kind of 6 bullet points we kind of follow with this. I'll just go down the list and say what I wrote down. You guys add anything in there or tell me that I'm wrong. At this point, I mean, I was so deliriously tired when I wrote this. Peter's things that need fixing. You could also do one for Jean Grey, by the way. I didn't, but I think that you could actually go down the list with Jean Grey easily with this.
Agreed.
Number 1 is changes in attractiveness and or personality. Peter is grieving his aunt, his friendships, and his former life. He believes he needs to be isolated alone to be Spider-Man. To quote him, sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing, even if it breaks Peter's heart.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's where he is.
Yes. And that needs to fix. That needs to
be fixed. Right. That needs to be fixed.
Yes.
Also, under this one, I wrote, Peter believes his isolation is normal.
Yes.
And just something he has to acclimate to. He says to the Punisher, look, I don't know who she is, Frank, okay? I don't have anybody. I'm just like you. I just keep to myself. Mm-hmm. Obviously, then there's a response to that. But that's what he is thinking. He's like, this is how it's supposed to be.
And we're shown that that's not good for him. And that needs to be fixed by the end of the story. Yeah.
Right. Number 2 is false beliefs about others, the world, or themselves. Peter believes others don't need him. We're shown several times of him watching Ned and MJ live their lives happily without him. He also believes the world is safer without him, and Spider-Man being one. He's suppressing Peter Parker from a life and suppressing Spider-Man even more with the inhibitor. So he's like, he believes that the world doesn't want him to be these two things together. I mean, the movie's just saying Ned and MJ are fine, and they kind of are.
They kind of are, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, they are fine. They're not. I feel like
Ned is like the best version of himself.
He still is searching for. He feels like there's something missing.
But there's something missing. Yeah.
But it's not like ruining his life.
Yeah.
Okay. And that kind of brings us right into the number 3: strained personal relationships. Obviously, Ned and MJ, they don't come in here really because, I mean, they're one way.
Yeah.
But you could throw them in this category. But what I wrote down was the detective DeWolf relies on him for important issues, but notes how they know nothing about each other.
Yes.
Like there's a problem there.
And with Frank, it's also
I wrote that too.
Yeah.
I said him and Frank are fighting for dominance in the streets and who owes who what.
Yeah.
Right.
So right there, they set up those relationships are going to need to be mended, and they're going to need to learn to work together, and he's going to need to learn to be authentic to the detective, like by the end of the story. Yeah.
Right. He's going to need to know the name of her kids.
Yes.
And that's
Her
how,
kids. Yes. Perfect. Yeah.
Number 4, not being entrusted with responsibility or not able to handle responsibility. Peter is avoiding his problems by working constantly, causing his bodily changes, and thus he's making mistakes. The detective considers no longer working with him unless something changes. That's what I wrote.
Yes.
5. This is kind of right on the nose for this one, but being invisible to key people or seeking invisibility. I wrote MJ and Ned, duh. He's been erased from their minds, and he is avoiding any attempt to tell them, despite the fact that they told him to.
Yep.
They actually like their actual wishes in the last movie, which they hint to here, is that they wanted him to tell him about what happened.
Yeah, to
but
come
he's
back.
avoiding
Yeah.
it. He's avoiding it. He's seeking invisibility.
And he lies to every single person. He doesn't even tell anybody his name. So that's one thing with when we're going to get into the Agents of Change that I thought was fascinating. He's jumping from face to face. Like he's giving every single person a different name, just like Sadie Sink's character is like giving every different person, she's talking through other people's faces.
He's almost like helping the spell to forget Peter Parker so that just Spider-Man exists. Right? Like that's right. The 6th point on this is others don't believe in you or you've given up on yourself. Peter's given up on himself.
Literally.
Straight up. I mean, like, there's no other way to say it.
Peter has given up on Peter. Yeah.
Straight up. Black Widow can tell he's alone almost instantly. Like it comes off of him. It's like obvious.
He's oozing loneliness. Yes.
Right. He's an easy read. He tells Frank he's just like him. The fact that he would even say that, that's proof that he's given up on him. Like, because the Punisher is technically a character who's just by nature given up on himself, right? So the fact that he thinks I'm like the Punisher, and that's fine. That isn't given up. So,
but I wanted us to talk about that. No, that was perfect, Bob. Okay. Thank you. But in fact, like more than I would have done. Like, I love it.
You would have gotten all that.
No, but because Jamie, I agree with you. Like the first act is so tight and so good. For me, it's where the movie peaked. Like there's so much energy. It resets the world that we're familiar with, the Peter that we're familiar with, the New York that we're familiar with, the relationships with Ned and MJ that we're familiar with, in such a way that's ripe for drama for all the reasons that Bob just said. And we get all 6 of those setups about his things that need fixing that the movie tracks then for the next 2 hours, because it's like 2.5 hour movie.
It's a long movie for sure.
So it literally tracks all 6 of those things for 2 hours until every one of those is reversed in a healthy way. Specifically, like if we really one of these times, we've been asked this a lot, and I never harp on it because it's a hard thing to do, but like we've had multiple listeners ask, can you do an episode where you track the things that need fixing through their beats? But it's like we would have 6 different things to track all the beats. That's like a whole episode just on things that need fixing. But I bet if you took what Bob just pointed out and then you just made like almost like a save the cat beat sheet for each thing that needs fixing, I bet they would all have their rises and falls and their midpoint and their dark night of the soul for each one of these things. And I think it's why the movie feels so personal, right? It's why we connect with Peter so much, because they spent so much time in the setup making this shit clear. So to the movies, for all the things I said that I didn't like about this movie, I love this and the setups specifically.
Also, I feel like, you could track it the full way, but I mean, most of these, when you say them out loud, if you've seen the movie, you know how it resolves.
Yeah.
And then it just sort of connects in your brain anyway. Like,
oh, you're like, oh yeah, oh
yeah,
yeah.
you could just say
yeah.
what happened
Yeah.
in the end.
Yeah, I mean,
if-
like, yeah, he's
if it
invisible
connects-
to key people. He literally is fighting with his mask off on purpose. I think it's
Right.
pretty clear he's over it.
He's over it, right? Like if you've seen the movie and I just say the beginning, you should know if the movie did its job, you should know that already innately, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a part of this movie, and when I get into it with the break into two, that I almost wonder if his personal issues are the lead of this movie,
Mm-hmm.
and the genre hijinks, so to speak, are the second banana to this movie. Like there's part of me that when I remember this movie, I less remember what Sadie Sink and Damage Control and all that stuff is doing, and I more remember his journey through the actual story.
Yeah, isn't that a good thing?
I think it's an interesting thing, and it's why I think I like this movie more than if it's just let's do some superhero stuff, the twists and turns.
I also feel like what you're talking about, Jamie, like the VMAX twist.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to talk about that in the points, are we?
Yeah,
But
it's in there. All
it's in
that's
there,
in there. Yeah.
To me, that's almost like the effect of the movie itself, where VMAX, it seems like it's going to be some Marvel mumbo jumbo, some goo or something that they're hiding or whatever.
Right.
And then in the end, it's not. It's just a character piece of what her sister saw when she was dying. You know what I mean? And it's like they didn't go to like the genre route with VMAX. There was just a character thing, a fake out.
Right. Yeah, it feels more a movie to me about a guy who's like trying to figure out how he fits in the world or something, with his old self versus the new self. And then his job kind of creeps in and starts making stressors for him by like bringing in MJ, for example, and things like that. So it's more about like the MJ side of it than it is the villain side of it. And even so, my break into two, when it clocks in right about 25-minute mark, the tank sequence begins it, but then the end of the tank sequence, when he sees like the possessor kind of jump from person to person, he clearly knows this is the work of some, person that's doing this body jumping, this possession thing. And then there's a mystery, like, who is this person? How do I stop them? I have to stop them. But the reality of it is, I'm not sure what the stakes are at that point, other than they're a bad guy causing trouble, right? So normally at the end of break into two, you would ask yourself, who's the hero? What's the goal? What's the stakes? And in this case, Peter's the hero, or Spider-Man's the hero. The goal is to find the possessor person, stop the possessor person. What are the stakes other than just like stop them from committing their next crime? It's not like,
are you saying the stakes are more emotional than they are?
I think the reason this works is because there's these other stakes and there's this other personal story. There's like,
can Peter figure out his shit?
Can Peter figure it out? And then there's the whole
Peter fix all those 6 things.
Right. That's the stakes, really. Yeah.
And then strangely enough, the arachnid
DNA
taking over DNA.
That's the ticking clock.
That's the ticking clock of the emotional story. Like he's got to figure out what his choice is going to be before the ticking clock takes him over. Now, it kind of gets undercut because he figures out a solution to that problem like halfway through the movie. And then it's just a question of, is that a solution, or should he,
a false solution?
Is it a false solution? And here's another interesting thing. I'm not sure if it's in the talking points. Something Jimmy talks about a lot is the wrong way kind of goal and all that stuff. This whole movie is kind of a wrong way goal.
It's a wrong way goal.
From the last movie. It's like his
that's probably
thing.
So the photo, so it's like the Peter's photo finish is basically
the inhibitor
to take the fucking mask off the right way. I mean, the wrong way is just to keep doing what he's doing. All the stuff. Yeah.
Well,
so
the weird thing about the photo finish, because what the photo finish usually implies is it's not wishy-washy. Like you couldn't say there's kind of like an inevitable conclusion to the finish. But when you have emotional finishes, and this is typically a problem with scripts like you and I read, Jimmy, is when you don't have a photo finish, it's like Well, he didn't choose it this week, but maybe next week he'll choose it when the movie ends, or maybe a month from now he'll choose it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and I think the arachnid thing gives some finality to that. It kind of forces the decision on what he's going to choose before.
It's
he chooses.
also very visual.
It's very visual.
Yeah, I'm not sure if like this is all relevant to the villain stuff, but I kind of want to table some because I have a lot to say on what you're saying. Yes, but it means skipping over a lot of stuff in between. So maybe I'll table it.
Yeah, that is all I mean, that's all I have to say about the break into two is that it really doesn't have high stakes. It really doesn't. There is a photo finish in it, in that when he discovers and stops the possessor, that would be a photo finish.
But it's a mystery.
It's a mystery.
My
Mystery, right.
issue.
But that's fine. I mean, mysteries can be a photo finish. When you catch the bad guy, that can be a photo. Like if it was
okay.
If it was 7, for example, the photo finish could be catching the bad guy. It's not, but in 7, but it could be. It could be catching the bad guy.
Have we ever talked about when stakes come in late?
No, because
we have as a problem.
Yeah.
That's
I'm saying, have we ever talked about it?
Yes, in lots of episodes.
And horror movies.
Let me just. I'll just fucking go into it. I'll skip past, and then Bob, we can go back to the Agents of Change. Okay,
that's fine. Do you?
So like for me, you guys both liked that everything you're describing here with that the act 2 that it's personal, and I do think it. I do think Peter's side of it, the emotional side of it, it works really well, right? I have no issues with that or the execution of any of the Peter side of this. My issue with this movie is the handling of the villain. So I'm gonna say, okay, 4 movies: The Electric State, The Phantom Menace, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and The Matrix 4 Resurrections. What do all of these movies have in common? A villain with a confusing or mystery plan that is not revealed to the audience until 75% into the movie. All 4 of those were also going, who is this person? What do they want? What's their motives? And it's hard to track and hard to follow and hard to feel, and there's no photo finish, and so Jamie just described the photo finish, so that's very helpful because I was going to ask if you would do that. It's like one thing I read all the time in scripts is this very thing, which is it's like an empire without a Death Star. We don't know what their plan is, so we can't root for the hero to stop them because we don't know what it is that we're trying to hope for them to stop, and we don't have anything to fear. It's like the Nazis without a lost ark, right? Like if you don't know what it is the Nazis are like after, then Indiana Jones' efforts are kind of like weightless. And but I think they did enough with the things that need fixing that was showed that had nothing to do with the villain, right? That it works. But every time the movie is trying to lean in on the drama around the villain, we just keep getting more updates, like and it's very much functions like Darth Maul and the Crystal Skull, and so like 40 minutes
I don't even
in,
remember the villain of the fucking Crystal Skull.
Yes, exactly.
Or Matrix. I don't remember the villain.
That's what I'm saying, because their plans are so confusing and hard to follow, and it isn't until 75% into them. So all 4 of those movies that we even know what it is that we should be rooting for them to stop. Like we don't even know what it is we're having Neo stop in Matrix 4 until like 75% in. Like you guys can't even remember it, you know?
Do you think that this works for people because what you're saying is the rooting and everything? We're rooting for Peter so much.
The first act is so strong,
but even in Act 2,
all
I
6
think
of those things, yeah.
If this isn't working how you're saying, which I like agree with you, we're rooting for Peter so much. He's the movie,
yes.
And like Jamie said, the villain is sort of a side quest.
Yes.
And that's why it's working for people, is because the Peter story is overtaking it.
Yes, but I do think it's like it's trouble. It's
So
a proceed with
I
caution if you're
I
writing.
I'd throw
Oh, as a
another.
lesson, but
See,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd throw another one at you though that might be closer to this engine, and I think it's interesting that you're framing Phantom Menace as this, because now I'm revisiting Phantom Menace, and I'm like, I wonder if that's what they were trying to do. But
I kind
I'd
of wish
point,
Phantom Menace hit as hard as the third act of it.
right, I'd point the Batman as an example of what this movie I think is trying to do, which is Batman is on the case of the Riddler, right?
Yeah, see,
And
they're that's what I wanted to bring up. Yeah.
yeah. So he's on the case. The Riddler is committing crimes. We don't know who this Riddler is until like halfway through when he does his weird video. I think it's been a while since I've seen the Batman. But there's a lot of movies like that. I bet you even
No,
if
so
I,
Jamie,
Fall,
because
Fallen might even be like that. in a way.
Fallen is
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Holy
perfect. No,
crap!
no,
I haven't
so
thought about
so
Fallen in so
so
long.
well, this movie is
This
Fallen.
is
with
Fallen. No,
MCU
it's so much
paint,
like
yeah.
Fallen. It's so much like Fallen.
so-
Fallen's another one of those underrated movies that I'm surprised
No,
it
it's a
didn't
great
become a whole
movie.
It's an
franchise. or
awesome
something.
movie.
Yeah.
It's an
So
rebooted.
Jamie, to your point, yes, Anne, if you don't mind. Okay, you just answered it for me because I had a lot of problems. But my one thing when I'm dealing with clients is I say you shouldn't have your villain's plan a mystery to be solved unless your story is operating as a mystery. And I never saw it like that in this first viewing. But now that you're saying he's Batman, I can see that. I can feel that. He's talking to the detective who's getting more information. He's talking to Black Widow and she's getting him more. It is functioning like there is a detective element to this. You're right.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
you're right. And
It's
that's why it's working.
It's not executed to the level either Batman or Fallen are, which
It's half-assed.
yeah,
yes.
because here's the key those things have, and this goes to stakes, where Riddler's going to keep killing people, and we know it. So there's this weird ticking clock that he has to beat Riddler before he kills the next person.
Mhm.
While this criminal, we're not really sure what they're doing.
No, it's a
you know?
mystery. In fact, it seems like she's after something, a mystery MacGuffin, when it's
Right,
revealed that it's the
Can,
person.
can I throw something in? I
Yeah.
want to say there's two things that make me think that why this works for people. Okay, and it works in this story. Is one is that Peter is unique in the villain's thing, is that he cannot be manipulated by her, and two, the way that they use it with MJ is so. I think that's pretty great and antagonizing him.
When
that
they
it keeps
raise
us-
the stakes there,
They
yeah.
raise the stakes of it, right?
Kind of
Like the fact,
midpointy.
it is
And
midpoint.
that's when the
That is.
stakes, Jamie, that's when the stakes come, yeah, because
but
then
that's
all
why
of
it
a
works.
sudden,
Personal
yeah.
story. Yeah.
Yeah,
If without those things, then it would be really meandering and stuff. But the fact that
Yes.
Peter is unique and that it's used as a story moment for him, how he would react if MJ, we got to see something that we wouldn't have otherwise because of
Yeah.
this villain. This villain
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
added that
excellent
unique
premise
moment.
delivery.
It's an
Right,
A,
right.
A story crosses B story midpoint.
Classic.
That's what it is.
and you couldn't have that without doing it like this.
You're
sort
right.
of.
You're right.
So-
The mystery, that part of it, if it's not functioning as a mystery, then that twist won't work.
What
Right.
we've kind of learned from horror movies is if you introduce the real big stakes at that point, the key is how do you keep people engaged during your fun and games? Do you have enough waving of the hands and execution that you can keep people engaged? Is there enough B story tension? Is there enough action sequences? Is there enough mystery that you? And I think that might be where we get some of the dramatic irony, the superior position stuff, is to keep people engaged. It's like a little bit of engagement, because I'm trying to remember it. It's been a couple days since I've seen the movie. When do they start revealing that Jean Grey is the person, or when do they kind of start?
It
around the
is.
Hawk.
I have
around the Hawk,
the time.
right?
I have the time code.
Of course.
I wrote it
Okay.
down. It is 74 minutes.
Oh, so
When
it's
does the
pretty
Hawk?
late.
When
It's
does the
pretty
Hawk
late.
show up, Jimmy?
I don't have that, but I was tracking
Wasn't it like
the
right
mystery.
before or after the Hawk happened? Right
The
before?
literal line is, "Who are you and what do you want? I'm Jean Grey."
Yeah, because
and
he's
you
in the
know
vault.
what I want. That's
No, it is.
74 minutes.
Because what's his name? The the damage control guy is in the vault talking to her, and she reveals
Yes.
her name,
Yes.
and that's right before Hawk shows up.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I
Right,
guess
so-
what I'm talking about is they give us some glimpses of her as a character in a hood and stuff like that, like driving away and looking, right? Didn't they do something without revealing
Yeah,
her
that's
name?
about 50 minutes.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
a little before. Yeah.
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 So they're doing stuff like that. And my gut says, unfortunately, I had this spoiled for me long before.
Yeah,
you
I already
know,
did too.
So I'm not even sure how it would work if it was a true mystery. Like if I
That's-
came in
so
cold, I don't know what it would have felt like.
But it's
this
a mystery
movie.
Yeah,
of
so-
Peter.
Well, so that's what I want. That's another thing I want to talk about from a storytelling standpoint, right? Because not just from a cultural standpoint, but from a script standpoint. Because that's another reason why I said the Phantom Menace. Because the Sadie Sink is Jean Grey is the exact same thing as Ian how do you say his last
Dermot.
name? McDermott is Darth Sidious. Like there isn't anyone in the audience who doesn't know that Ian McDermott is Darth Sidious, right?
Back in the day, that wasn't even a mystery. It just felt
Right.
like
So
we just
there's
knew it.
no one
Oh,
in the
right,
audience
right.
who doesn't know that Jean Grey is the villain. And so like that is my problem with trying to pretend it's a mystery to be solved for 75 minutes. I think I don't like it. It doesn't feel good to me. It feels like it's a shortcoming for me. Every time the movie was like, what is her name? What does she want to do? I was like, come on, just say it.
On the flip side, I
It's like
think
yelling-
But what if she was okay? Let me throw this at you
Yeah.
though. What if Jean
Yeah.
Grey never existed before? I mean,
That's
if
true.
she is just. I mean, like personally, I'm not an X. I don't like X-Men. I don't care that it's Jean Grey. I think she was used well, but I don't care.
Yeah.
If she was just some character that I don't care about, does that? I don't.
Yeah.
I don't feel what you're saying right there.
got
Is
you.
basically what I'm saying. It's like
you.
to me, I don't care that it's Jean Grey. It's just she could be called
I
Mind Woman.
my
Like, okay, whatever.
this
you
goes
know?
this goes into like Kevin Feige office room debates and stuff.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
not
'Cause-
something anybody out there who's writing scripts will have to
Has
do.
Well,
to worry about,
But
right?
but what I'm thinking is, and this is why they hid who she was and everything else. I think the hope was that it would be a big pop.
Ha!
That it was like
Never.
Jean Grey is.
Ain't no way.
But here's why, because Jean Grey is not in the Spider-Man universe, so it
Yeah.
is kind of there is some sneakiness in there.
Mm-hmm.
I they couldn't cover it up, but it's hard to imagine. I almost have to have Doctor Strange make a wish that I didn't know as Jean Grey to understand if that would have been a big pop in the audience using a
I
wrestling.
had
thing.
some friends see it opening night and said there was some gasps.
yeah,
So
like
Really?
yeah, that did happen for some.
well, they're
people.
going to Jean Grey. Like, imagine if it was Wolverine that showed up all there all
Yeah.
of a sudden, and it was like, "Whoa, Wolverines!" And it's Hugh Jackman.
I'm
He's got
Wolverine,
the
and I
blades.
have mind powers.
Yeah, Wolverine. I mean, if RDJ can have Doctor Doom powers, give
Sure,
Hugh
whatever.
Jackman
Anything's
some
possible.
mind jumping. I don't know. I don't know
But
what this movie would have been. Like.
Regardless, what you've helped me realize in a positive way that I think could help listeners is if your character, if solving a mystery is part of the recipe to the story, then keeping the villain's plans and motives and identity a mystery works. If it's like Indiana Jones, if it's an arc flat cheeseburger, it doesn't. It's not gonna work if the Nazis, if you don't know that they're after the ark. So you're helping me feel like this worked better than I felt when I was watching it. So that's
I do think there is like a low level stakes thing to both Batman and Spider-Man where they can just be on a case and it can almost feel like a TV series, and it's okay as long as things escalate as they go. And I think it's unique to Spider-Man and Batman because they're street level heroes, and they can be on street level cases, unique street level cases that challenge as long as they escalate and hit a stakes thing. But I do
And this
think it's
one
very
definitely
unique.
does.
It's a detective
Yeah.
story. That's what
Yeah.
you're describing
Right.
detective stories.
And
for.
I didn't realize that this was a detective story at all, not for a second. But
There's a
now
different version-
but But now that you're pointing it out, I see the beats. I can like remember him like talking to the detective with asking for updates about the case and sharing new information, and the multiple Black Widow beats sharing new information, and the multiple damage control exchanging information that he gets deceived with, so all of those are inherent to a detective story. So I just fucking missed it.
We're also, I know that it's probably not as big of a deal as far as story is concerned, but we are following the only guy on Earth that is immune to this mystery.
So he's got to solve.
Why? He is positioned as the only hope to figure this out for us, the audience, because she can jump into anyone else. So there is too.
Yeah, I guess, Jamie, this might be a superhero why done it hybrid.
I didn't want to bring up genres today. I made a commitment that I wasn't bringing up Save the Cat genres. But but no, I labeled it as a why done it plot wise.
Man,
and it even has the thing called I think he calls it the dark turn. Because the dark turn is really that the hero becomes so obsessed with the case for a personal reason that he's willing to sacrifice certain things to solve the case. And I think he does take this case personally, and he goes into like, I can change her, I can save her, because I think he sees her as a reflection of himself.
He does save her.
He does save her. So I think he does kind of become obsessed with the case. The case becomes more than a normal case. Partially for the stakes reasons, but also because he wants.
I need to figure this out to figure myself out.
That's right.
See, this. So I just missed all of that. So like,
no, I think what you're saying is also true.
Jimmy, here's the big thing. One, I don't think the TikTok of the case is very interesting. Like figuring out who, you know what I mean? Like it's not like he's doing these amazing clues. I don't think the writers are as interested in the mystery of it in some ways. They're more interested in his B story, I think. And I think this is just
in his things that need fixing.
Jamie, that's why I said the VMAX thing is intentional.
Yeah.
That reveal is intentional.
And hearing it that way, like I like that, Bob, because like for me, I was extremely unsatisfied by it being such a boring, uninteresting reveal. And
that's why it was interesting, though.
And you pointing it like that, I like that.
I was like, please don't let VMAX be like a giant robot or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I was so worried about. Like, her sister has been incorporated into an evil robot or some insane technology.
I thought it was going to be Howard the Duck, to be honest.
I mean, then I would have been happy.
I was like, VMAX is Howard the Duck.
Well, and the other reason, God, this is so dumb. It's not even relevant. Who's learning anything from this? But the reason that I cringed when I saw it, when it's supposed to be a very emotionally a big emotional moment for her character, is it made me think of the G.I. Joe episode, The Viper, and the whole movie. They're going the whole episode of this cartoon. They're like, there's a mystery villain named the Viper, and like, who's the Viper? And then it turns out it's a guy with an accent, and he's like, I'm the Viper. I've come to vipe the windows. And I was like, oh my God, VMAX is the Viper gag?
Yeah, but the execution also matters.
It even has a V in it.
I don't remember that, but the execution of this also matters. It is the moment she realizes her sister's dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's the moment she realizes, oh, that's the last thing my sister ever saw.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
And I was getting distracted by the mechanics and the G.I. Joe parallel that I saw.
I don't remember any of that.
Zartan in disguise.
Yeah, right. I think I would have been more dissatisfied if VMAX meant something. The fact that it didn't,
interesting.
The fact that it means nothing meant it more than anything, because it was how her sister died.
Honestly, whenever I heard VMAX, I kept thinking about The Boys. Isn't their drug something like that?
It's V, Compound V.
I was like, VMAX, is this the drug from The Boys? Are we doing a crossover?
Yeah, what's happening?
Is Butcher going to show up? I don't know what's happening.
All right. Well, I took us off topic big time.
No, that was good.
Okay.
I think that the mystery aspect is one of the most discussable things in the movie.
Yeah, because then they reveal that the villain all along also had like their own mystery plan, and that doesn't get revealed till 104 minutes. That there's another.
Look, it becomes
and they have a Death Star.
It becomes a Jean Grey movie for 20 minutes, But
Yeah.
here's the thing: is I liked the Jean Grey movie too.
Me too. Me too. Which is
So
why
it's like,
I would have preferred if we knew it was a Jean Grey movie from the beginning. That's all. I think it's more emotionally impactful if we knew all that stuff about her from the start. Is all. Just like I felt with Phantom Menace, that if you knew who Darth Maul was and what he wanted, 25 minutes in, to Jamie's point with the lock-in, that it's a way cooler movie. But that's just me.
I feel like we know sort of by the Hawk fight, like she wants revenge of some sort, and that's enough.
Yeah, but that's 75 minutes in.
The movie's like 9 hours long. It's whatever.
That's
You know?
true.
It's like, yeah.
That's true. They all are now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so fucking long. It's like a TV show. All right, where are we?
Let's go back to Agents of Change.
Agents of Change. All right, so this is. I already said I did the things that need fixing last night at like 2:30 a.m. I did this at like 3.
Yes, I was
So
up
this
there
is-
too.
So you guys, please chime in with this. Agents of Change is a simple screenwriting technique to help your characters grow. Is to put others in their path who reflect their flaws. Yeah. So Agents
Yeah.
of Change is other characters essentially.
Mhm.
Characters who force growth and change in Peter. Okay. So constructing your characters to I'm reading Jimmy's language here. Constructing your characters to force growth and change and maximize antagonism between them.
Yes.
This is to me, I mean, look, when I'm half asleep, this is a pretty hard thing to clock for some of it's easy, but negative self-reflections, worst case scenario, past, present, future, right?
Yeah. So it's
So-
that's the idea is that like the best way to show like the turmoil of a character is to put them make the audience play the comparison game, right? Make
Right.
the character and the audience play the comparison game. So yeah.
The first one I wrote down was Frank Castle. That's the first one. I said, he's a New York vigilante with a tragic past of losing everyone he loves to violence and death. I mean, Peter, you could almost describe the same thing.
Yes.
He's isolated from society. He's angry. He's alone. Peter won't admit that the Punisher may be one of his only friends. Also, Frank is on the verge of becoming a sort of gateway role model for Peter.
Mhm.
And when he finds out, he tells Peter off. Spider-Man says, "I don't have anybody. I'm just like you. I keep to myself." And Frank replies, "You're like me. What do you know about me, kid? You think this is a choice? Living like this isn't a lifestyle. It's not what you think. Kid, this is a sentence. If I had 1 second, people I love were still breathing, you think I'd be hiding behind a mask? Think I'd pretend to be something I'm not, acting like a goddamn coward." Right? So
Yeah. So, and this is
Yeah.
why, like, Frank, like, arguing against Jamie here. It's not random, Jamie. Like, this was thematic. Like,
did Jamie say it was random?
He was joking. I think.
Oh yeah.
I was trying
I
to
can't
joke
tell with
back.
this guy anymore.
I
No,
know.
my thing is choosing the Punisher is random from a I feel who knows how they choose these things like Hawk, and I think Ruffalo sends them emails, but then I think they figure out how to integrate them into the movie. That's all.
Thematically. Yeah.
I don't think
I
the
think this is a
story
good-
feels random.
I
don't
think
the
this
story-
moment justifies, for me, this moment justifies Frank being in this movie.
right.
It's a perfect
It
it's a
does.
perfectly constructed agent of change because it forces Peter to look inward. Like that relationship, that
Absolutely.
moment forces Peter to look inward, and we're allowed to then look inward with Peter in that moment and understand that he's on the path to change, right?
he's the
because
ghost
of
of-
Frank.
Yeah, Frank's the ghost of Christmas future, though.
Exactly.
In a lot
Yeah.
of ways.
Yeah,
sure.
I haven't labeled it this yet, but this is the exercise I give to my clients, Jamie. I call it the Scrooge exercise.
We did this
So, like,
Batman Returns, right? We did this.
That's a great one. Yes.
Yeah.
We also did it with Bloodsport in the Suicide Squad.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think also Frank's good because like everyone Frank loved is completely dead.
Yep.
Whereas
So that's
Peter,
also
that's not
a worst
true.
case future. That's a
It's
worst case future.
but for Peter, that's not true. They're still alive. There's still
Yeah.
hope.
And
know?
that's why Frank is a perfect reflection. Yeah.
Right. Obviously, in the next one I wrote was Jean Grey, right?
Mhm.
The world's most powerful mutant acting anonymously on a mission to avenge her sister's murder. Similar to Peter, she's been abandoned and lost everyone she loves. Her actions come from a place of pain and isolation. from any form of love, right? Like she's
Mhm.
not open to anything. And then of course the quote, she says, people like us don't get to live a normal life. We don't get to have friends or family. Those people are gone. That life is over. So why don't you be honest with yourself? Are you Peter Parker or are you Spider-Man? Right?
Yeah.
I
So
mean, it's like
she's
straight
another.
up.
Yeah. So she's another Ghost of Christmas Future, Jamie, right? Like if but she's the circus mirror, right? Like if
Mhm.
if he decides that he's gonna be like her, like turn off Peter for good, he's gonna turn into her. So
Yeah, and in some ways, she's what he is. Like she's
yes,
still in deciding. In some ways, she's made a clearer path. So him trying to save her is like him realizing the solution in someone
Yep.
else, but not himself.
Yep, and that works because of how they constructed
Right.
her as a reflection, the comparison game. So
Save her, save myself.
exactly.
So I wrote it down a third one, and you guys can either agree or disagree with me on this, but I wrote down Bruce Banner
Absolutely,
Sure.
dude.
because he
Mhm.
succeeded in suppressing his abilities, but the successful suppression of the Hulk makes him actually vulnerable to attack and
Yes.
disaster. Bruce is the opposite of Yelena, which we'll get to later. Him and Hulk have no harmony. He wants there to be only Bruce.
Mhm.
Where we find him in this, he says to Peter, "Don't worry, it's got fail safes. I'm not going to turn into a big green raging monster in the cafeteria. But if you see this thing, if you see me without this thing, run, right?
Right.
It's the inhibitor." So, like, we're not talking about the MCU. We're just talking about where we find him in this movie. He's literally trying to turn the other part of him off completely.
Yeah, he's trying to. It's basically like telling Peter there should be no Spider-Man. There should only be Peter. You
Right.
know,
Or the other way. Or there should be
yeah.
only Spider-Man. Yeah. There should be only Peter and no
And
Spider-Man.
he has some
Yeah.
line I can't remember. I didn't write it down where he's basically like, "How do you decide which side of nature should be turned off and which one shouldn't?" Bruce Banner says this to Peter.
Also, I don't want to derail this discussion, but seeing it a third time made me realize that the answer to the end of the movie, did Jean Grey messing with everybody's head make Ned remember Peter, right? That's the question. It's the answers in Hawk, because when he says, "It's me, Peter, your friend," Hawk remembers, and that's why he stops attacking him. So whatever Jean Grey did messing with people's heads, I think the answer to that is in Hawk, is that he did remember who Peter was.
That's good.
So it has nothing to do with this exercise. I'm just saying, I wanted to say that. Positive self-reflections. I don't have any quotes for these because I couldn't find them. I looked them
That's
up.
okay, dude.
Yeah. Black Widow, positive self-reflection. She's an Avenger. She suffered loss and pain, as we know, but she still recognizes the necessity of friends and loved ones in this chosen life and life in general. She's Black Widow and Yelena. Peter needs to be Peter Parker and Spider-Man, right?
And she's trying to get him to take off his mask.
Right. She's trying to force him to open up.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Right. Detective DeWolf, as a positive self-reflection. She works with Peter and trusts his abilities and shows concern for his well-being, mental and physical. The work is important to her, but it's not all that's important. Her family, her loved ones are given as much attention, just like Peter needs to learn to do as well, right?
And she's encouraging him to take care of himself. She's encouraging him to tell him who she is, tell her who he is. Right. I got it out there.
And so that's all I wrote down for positives, but I think you could probably throw in like Ned or something like that.
You could throw in Ned and MJ, but
I threw them in the last category, which is reflections of both worst and best and worst.
Yeah.
Jimmy, I just literally copy and pasted what you said to me about MJ. MJ forces him to reflect in every direction. Worst case, past self, the wish and leaning into, I am Peter Parker no more, only Spider-Man, right? And the best case self is their loving, honest relationship. I can be happy as Peter and Spidey. It's balanced, right?
And what's cool is, like, if you're out there listening, why this tool works, back to what Jamie said, it's why A Christmas Carol stands the test of time, because it's operating using this, like, in every scene, is because every time Peter is thinking about the good stuff of his past with MJ and Ned, and we're seeing those flashes, we feel what Peter is feeling as he's deciding whether he's gonna
Right.
go back to that way or not. And it's just an easy way to really connect you with the character's path without saying things, you know? So yeah, I just love
You
this tool.
you also had for MJ, worst case, present and future self, deception, inauthenticity, and grief if he loses her.
Mm-hmm.
Best
Yep.
case, he's most alive in her presence.
Yes.
And that only happens if he's Peter and Spidey.
Yep.
Right. Those are all
Yep.
Jimmy's words.
And
not
we
mine.
know that, we see that, we feel that. So.
Right. No. And I wrote Ned, and I wrote, like I said, pretty much everything Jimmy said about MJ applies to Ned, but with friendship.
Yeah.
But also, I think there's an added point with Ned here. Ned is Peter if Peter never got powers.
Yep.
And
That's
in this
perfect.
movie specifically, Peter gets to experience Ned outside their own relationship. Ned shows curiosity and compassion. His intelligence and nerdiness does not isolate him from anyone else, including MJ. People like Ned. He's a popular guy. And Peter
that was fun.
Right. And Peter gets to see this from afar. And I feel like it's almost like, it's him seeing what his life could be.
Yep. Ghost of Christmas Past.
Yeah, he's
exactly
right. So Ned,
exactly.
I think a lot of people would wash over Ned's importance in this movie, but it's like kind of like no, this is
no, it's very important.
Peter would be generally doing the same things as Ned if he didn't have powers, right? Like he is Ned pretty much.
And you know what, Jamie? Those scenes, they feel like a Christmas Carol. Like
they do. They
Peter
really do.
feels like he's like an apparition in those scenes, right? That he's not actually there because of the way that he's going about his life.
Him watching the TikToks
yes.
of them is almost like him watching them live their lives.
Yes, it's so Christmas Carol. From now on, Jamie, you've made me decide when I bring this up, I'll just literally take
Carol.
the exercise that I give my clients and call it it's time for the Scrooge technique.
And then the plot is kind of him seeing his grave. You will die, the arachnid.
Yeah, and he goes to a grave. Multiple times.
Like you said, the Punisher is the future, right?
It's the future,
the worst case scenario.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing that this does. So instead of having somebody tell your hero their philosophy is wrong, you can introduce somebody who's been living that philosophy for 20 years.
Exactly,
and they can see it, and that's a good show not tell kind of way to do things, to handle this.
That's everything I got, unless you guys have anything to add.
That was
and by the way, my next point, I was going to say character arc kind of influences plot, was based, it's kind of dancing around all the things you just said, but it's kind of like when you figure out your character arc, suddenly you can figure out all these things like the arachnid thing, like if his arc is that he's trying to cut Peter Parker out of his life and become all Spider-Man, well, now suddenly this thing is trying to make him entirely a spider or a monster. And there's a lot of we're the same, you and I know we're going to talk about the villain's plan, but Jean, like, who's my villain in this movie? We're the same, you and I, is kind of what happens. Jean and him are the same to an extent. They have a similar philosophical problem. So a lot of your character arc stuff can then inform your external plots. And that's what this movie does a good job of.
Did you want to go to window characters?
Yeah, this is mine. So it's kind of just expanding on what you just talked about with the agents of change, which is like, so when what are window characters? They're someone who the main character talks to when they're battling with their inner turmoil, right? And some famous ones, they could be friend, they could be foe, they could be inanimate objects, like we talked about. Wilson and Castaway is when he doesn't have, there's not a character on the island for him to talk to. So the stroke of genius there was they put a face on with blood on the soccer ball, and suddenly he has a window character to talk about and wrestle with his emotions and talk about his plans and his strategies and all that thing. And some examples we've done in the past on the show is Al in Die Hard is like one of the best
Yep.
window characters. And when you have a character of few words, like a protagonist of few words, like we've talked about John Wick, in the episode about the killer, he was his own window character. His voiceover was our only way where we could understand what's going on in the mind of this guy, was him kind of like commentary over every scene about what he's doing and why. And then in the substance, it was the nameless phone guy, right? Like our only way to track how Demi Moore's character was feeling about all this shit that's happening to her is the nameless phone guy who's like, do you want to continue the experience?
Right.
And so my favorite thing about this movie is my favorite thing about the use of window characters in this movie is the detective, because I think it's subversive that she doesn't know who he is. You know, like most window characters, the character they're talking to knows who they are,
Right.
and that's why they're sharing their feelings. But she makes it a point on multiple occasions to try to get him to say, like, I don't even know who you are, she says, you know. So I think it's this one's an interesting one, that you could have a character who like doesn't even know who the other character is, and they could still function like a window character. That's cool.
Like she has no prior
Yeah,
camaraderie or knowledge. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Pope in the pool, literally.
I put this on there for Jamie, not for myself.
Yeah. So the Pope in the pool is a thing that Blake Snyder talks about in his first book. It's an exposition technique. And essentially the reason it's called Pope in the pool is because there was some movie that I'd have to look up that I should know by heart. That nobody's ever seen this movie, by the way.
Yeah, I don't even know what the movie is either.
Yeah,
Jamie.
and there's some big exposition scene that they have where these two people are talking, and while the exposition is happening, the Pope comes out and he takes off his little hat and takes off his outfit, and he has a swimsuit on. He dives in the pool, and the whole time we're kind of watching this background of the Pope swimming. The technique is that if you have an exposition scene, give us something fun and interesting to watch, at least at bare minimum. There's a million other techniques to do, but that's one technique that Blake Snyder mentioned. He calls it the Pope in the pool.
Yeah, instead of burying your exposition with a joke, like we've talked about a lot, you know, that's a big Twinkie in Ghostbusters. It's like burying exposition in an out of place scenario, right? Like you're so distracted by the out of placeness of what's happening that the things they're talking about become easier to digest and sound less like an info dump, you know? And so that the reason I put it on here is because I feel like the writers know about Pope in the pool, and they were like, you know what, let's just do a literal Pope in the pool with the pool scene, and because that's their first scene where we're getting an exposition dump about the possessor mystery, right?
Right. It's, you know what's interesting? I just Googled this while we were talking to figure out what the movie was, and it looks like it was a screenplay. It wasn't even a movie. All these years,
how would people know about it?
Yeah, well, some Blake used to work with this consultant named Mike Chetta, who actually I think he still is a consultant, because I had a friend that said, "Hey, I got Mike Chetta to review a script of mine or something," and he was the one that told Blake about this technique, or he read this Pope scene in the screenplay he was consulting on, and that's where he came up with the term Pope in the pool. So there you go. That's your history. That's your Save the Cat history for today.
I don't actually remember this term. If we ever talked about it,
we have talked about it. Yeah,
we have hundreds of times.
Hundreds of times.
Hundreds of times.
I feel like we haven't talked about it in a while, at least. I don't know. Okay, do you want to talk about Mumbo Jumbo?
Yeah, so this is another one where I'm gonna make Jamie quote Blake Snyder.
Yeah, and I'll have to look up the movie Mumbo Jumbo. No. So this it's funny. This is this particular rule, and it's in the same chapter as Pope in the Pool, by the way. He has like he has like a whole chapter of like random things that didn't fit in the book, but advice to screenwriters.
Mm-hmm.
And there's two of them that one that I always ignored, and then there's Double Mumbo Jumbo, which I'm ignoring more and more as time goes by because of the MCU.
Interesting.
It's a hard one to defend given the MCU in some ways, though I think it's still good advice. So Double Mumbo Jumbo is basically saying you can't have two magic systems in the same story, two supernatural elements. So you can't have aliens and wizards, unless your concept is aliens versus wizards or something, or cowboys versus Indians or something.
What you said right there is what kind of applies to what we're talking about. Unless you have this. So that's sort of like, unless it's a Marvel, you know what I mean?
Well, so this is Jamie. Okay. You said you're forgiving it more.
More and more. I do think modern audiences. So here, I'll go into a little spiel on this. Okay, this will take 2 seconds. When I was a kid, and they came out with Spider-Man the TV show, wah 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 wah, that show, and the Incredible Hulk. I can't do the music for that. No, that's Jurassic Park. The piano, but it's I can't do whatever that sad piano theme was. Those shows, what they used to do when I was a kid was they rammed Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk into like a format they knew, this grounded format. And I always kind of hated it. Like, I didn't really like the Incredible Hulk TV show because it was just like a crime show, kind of. It was a story of the week where he turned into the Hulk.
Murder She Wrote with the Hulk.
Yeah, and Spider-Man was the same way. And even though it was exciting to me to see him climb a wall in very bad 1980s technology, what they probably just filmed sideways and had him crawl on the wall or something. It always did that. But as years have gone by and anime has shown up and, all these things, even Star Wars in some ways mixes magic systems and animation and comic books and all this stuff, I think the next generation is more forgiving of multiple magic systems and supernaturals. They're okay seeing a ghost and a robot and a this and that. And I do, like, the more I watch, so, like, for example, if you ever watch One Piece on Netflix or something, it's all over the place. It's superheroes. It's like weapons. It's technology. It's there's just a lot of stuff that you can do. So I'm more forgiving of it now. I do think it's a good guideline for many, many, many stories. But some stories I do understand people are more forgiving now than they ever were before. And when I bring this up, everybody points to the MCU as, well, what about them? They have, aliens and Thanos and Guardians of the Galaxy and Doctor Strange and the Incredible Hulk and mutants and this and that and blah, blah, blah.
Gods and
the reason I brought it up is because when we did the Infinity War episode, a big problem that people were having who didn't like it was the infinite mumbo jumbo of each of the characters that had their own movies to explain their magic system, their powers, and it's not just magic, it's also like tech that does magic and things like that. So exactly. I wanted to bring it up because there is, by my count, one of the things that was making it harder for me, and maybe it's just because I'm old, was the mumbo jumbo, the Jean Grey possession powers, Fallen with MCU paint, Spider-Man mutation powers now that he's having these new mutations to follow, and like, what can he do? What can he do? What are his, what are his strengths? What are his limitations? The mutant DNA inhibitor rules. There's a full inhibitor. There's a half inhibitor. How does it work? What happens if does it have like battery pack? I don't understand how this works. Doctor Strange's memory eraser spell rules. Why can't they remember him? Why can they remember him? Like, what's the line? What does he need to do to get their memories back? Is it possible for him to get their memories back? That's like a whole set of rules that they're trying to navigate. damage control possessor device rules. Once we learn they have a Death Star, then they're like, well, what can this Death Star do? Because we didn't get to see it. We didn't get to see them blow up an Alderaan, so we don't know.
I want to agree with Jamie a little bit, but I'd also say like I don't disagree with you, Jimmy. I think it's something you should always keep at a minimum if you can.
Yeah.
But like I'd say like 3 of these kind of don't matter to the audience, and it's all about execution. The only time I feel this is honestly when Peter's talking to Banner.
Okay.
They just have this like mumbo jumbo conversation about how the inhibitors work, and it's like there's a part of me that's like, you could have just written this out. We didn't need to hear them talk about the actual words and stuff like that. That's the only time I feel it. Other than that, I feel like if I don't feel it, it doesn't matter as an audience member. I thought Spider-Man's mutation powers, whatever, Jean Grey, whatever. The Marvel, this is the Marvel thing. It's just let it wash over you.
Yeah, and
it's the execution that matters of all of this.
And that's where they also get an advantage. Is there's so many other movies and so many other comics and so many other where people are coming into it with baggage of all that stuff. Like we know the Doctor Strange thing happened and kind of
technically that's another movie.
It's another movie. It establishes and you know. While I do think this is a good standalone movie, it simplifies it. But I do think there's a lot of baggage you just bring into these movies that you're like okay with. The funny thing is the arachnid thing of all things, that was the thing that bugged me a little bit because
it bugged you.
It did. It bugged me. Yeah, exactly. There was I think because it was like another random event happening at the same time of all these other events. And while you could say that it was his psychology, also the fact that we've seen Tobey Maguire dancing and stuff like that, that was like, it's kind of this whole thing of changing and whatever. I mean, that was the opposite. Like he couldn't get his powers back, or he was embracing dark Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, I like that about this. It was like it was the opposite of Spider-Man 2, where it was like he's getting too many powers.
He's getting too many powers.
Yeah.
But there was a part of me like the bad example to fix these things is to join these things. So like, let's say the first time Jean Grey goes inside his head, it scrambles him and oh no, his DNA is now scrambled or something. That's the way you kind of fix these things is you start combining them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the reason I just put it on here because it definitely stuck out and I definitely think it's a proceed with caution.
It definitely is
people out there who have who are playing with ideas like this. I don't think it's a good idea to have 5 of them.
No, you should keep it to a minimum at all costs.
It used to be 1, but Jamie's saying maybe you can get 3, get away with 3.
I mean, honestly, Jimmy, you're even leaving out like other stuff that you didn't write down.
I know I did that on purpose, but those are the ones that get multiple.
You could write where you didn't write down the Hulk. That's another mumbo jumbo.
Well, I didn't write down. I know I didn't write down the Hulk, and I didn't write down there's like 3 more that I didn't write down, but these 5 are clearly on screen.
The first Spider-Man movie of all time, this would be a mess.
The reason I brought those 5 is because they are dramatized. There is conflict and tension around how all 5 of these work and what their limitations are and what the stakes are for these things. So.
You know why I'm for the mutant DNA? It's because I have been 100% for biological web shooters.
Yes,
I prefer them so vehemently over mechanical web shooters.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, but I'm kidding about that being a story thing. I just thank God, get rid of those damn things. I hate them.
To Jimmy's point, like I can never remember reading a script like consulting wise or spec script that did like the One Piece kind of thing or did the Marvel thing that was like, oh, this world building makes sense to me. Like I can never remember it. It usually feels like bad writing to me 90% of the time, as opposed to somebody who has a very clear idea of some new world building strategy they're coming up with that has all these things. But if you do have a clear world building strategy that needs all these things, more power to you. I haven't seen it work yet. You might be the first. And I do think there's an audience that would accept it if you nailed it.
I think you make a good point about the audience evolving.
The audience is just different.
I mean, Jimmy, if I could throw out just the fact that X-Men exist in an X-Men movie, there's how many different, you have, it's almost like the MCU is the mutant gene, and you just
Yes.
accept that it does
That's
everything.
true. Just like we've
You
talked
know?
about in like a Harry Potter story, you just go with it. The
You just
magic.
anything can happen. All right.
And in the
yeah.
Beetlejuice episode, we talked about how the genius of that is the way they establish the world. The mumbo jumbo goes out the window. The handbook absolves there
Yeah.
being a handbook absolves you from needing to explain
anything,
of that.
right?
I actually think, like, if you brought, not that this would be a good idea at all, but I'm just saying, if you brought like UFOs into the Harry Potter universe at episode 10 of it, you might be able to get away with it if there might be a way to do it, because
Well,
you've already done 10
dam.
things that establish wizarding stuff.
Yeah.
Once you break a dam of certain with the audience, you can kind of
Yeah.
do anything.
Yeah.
Like, what about
Yeah.
old Godzilla movies? They used to have like you'd have Godzilla, then you'd have like stuff that was religious, and then you'd have actual magic, all in one movie. You could say those are badly written too, but
No,
Yeah,
but it's
you
a
know what I
different
mean?
culture too. It's a different culture with different cultural
But
expectations for media.
I think
you
that
know?
same culture has influenced the audience
Yes.
today. So
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
that's why
Yeah.
we're
Yes.
getting,
So
like, I just came from a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and I bet they do stuff like that all the time.
Yes.
I just came from
Yes.
a convention with them, and I'm like,
that's so awesome that
Yeah.
you went to one of those.
I
Hell
feel
yeah.
I feel like people are savvy on comic books. The average person is so savvy. It's just like they go with it.
right.
Like I said, I saw it with a bunch of 70-year-olds, and they were like fine with all of this. So
Yeah.
they have no clue what this is.
So the audience has evolved. I love this.
I think so.
Just
Not-
but still keep it to a minimum.
But-
Don't just add stuff.
it's not easy. It's not easy to pull off, but I
Yeah,
think the
no.
audience can accept it. And I do. It is one of those points, like the Blake Snyder books get hit for certain points, and that is one point where it does get hit. It also gets hit for saying Memento's a bad movie. And then it gets hit for saying The Catalyst is on page 12. They're like the three biggest hot button items that people say that sucks because. And the fact that he wrote Stopper Mom.
He said you can only do one magic system.
Yeah, what an idiot. Throughout the whole book, that one paragraph, whatever. But so, and I think the audience has evolved since he wrote that before the Marvel Universe. Look at movies before that. I bet you're hard pressed to find a good movie that has double mumbo jumbo. And if you are, I'd like to hear it. Point to me the one that you've seen that has double mumbo jumbo before the year 2004 that works.
If let me posit a weird question. If all three of us were tasked with writing a Rick and Morty episode, would we even worry about this?
No.
No.
It actually,
But
that
that's
might
a
actually
tone
be
thing.
That's a tone thing. But that's like the point of the show.
Yeah.
I guess
Right.
what I'm saying is like the point of that show is to have as many of these as humanly possible.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's not
And
exactly
the
the
point
MCU.
of this yeah, it's
It's
similar.
that, but it is to have a
Yeah.
lot of this, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So,
yes, you're right. You're right. I was more.
But I would
just
still
putting
say keep it to
yeah,
a minimum.
Yeah.
If you're not trying to be funny.
Again, I have
know?
not yet seen a spec script where I'm like, this is a good spec and it does this, but not that I've read every spec on the market or even heard about a sale of a big spec that has quadruple double mumbo jumbo. I haven't seen it. It probably more happens in the novel world where you have
Yes.
more time to world
You have more
build.
time.
Yeah,
And
like-
it's you
I-
give the reader time to absorb it all.
I've never read the Dungeon Crawler Carl series or something, but
I'm sure
yeah.
there's quintuple mumbo jumbo.
That's a huge
Sure.
blockbuster novel series that's being made into a TV show and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
Once
if you have
you-
the next one, maybe.
Once you've kind of crossed the multiverse like idea in anything, it's like this kind of gets thrown away
Yeah.
too.
Right.
You're
Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like they're open. The audience is just like, yeah, whatever. Spider-Man swing, good. You know, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't care.
Mhm.
I don't know.
We already talked about the
we already
villain,
talked
so
about
we can-
Darth Maul, right?
we
Yeah.
can- yeah, we can
You-
skip past all of the villain related stuff that's on that list.
You still want to talk about damage control, though, right?
I feel like I said what I was gonna say. My only thing was like, it was another mystery villain with a plan we didn't know that existed and a Death Star we didn't know existed. And I feel like
You know what?
if we knew that, if we knew they had a Death Star, which is the device that is going to use her powers and to jump at will, I feel like it would be go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, just revealed to me that, or just thought about it, like how you thought the Sadie Sink was metacasting.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't think Metzger was metacasting.
Yeah,
he's kind of like, how far off is he from Severance?
that's true.
He's a company man doing evil things behind the scenes.
That's true.
It's like insanely metacasting, right?
So they got 2 of them anyway.
I think he's gonna come back too because he disappears, right, or something.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
No, so I didn't really have much to say. I was trying to see if we could find the lesson there. But
is damage control something from the comic books? Because I kind of hated the name damage control.
Damage control is from it's from the comics, but it was introduced in the first Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
I
don't even remember.
Yeah, they were in their infancy in the first Spider-Man. They were clean. They basically back then were introduced as they clean up all the damage that the heroes leave behind. Pretty much.
I remember that.
So they've evolved into what it is in this movie. So it actually in this franchise had a reason to bring it back.
It was escalation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So it does exist in the comics.
Okay.
From what I remember, I haven't read Spider-Man comics in 25 years, but yeah. No, I was gonna say, Jimmy, with the if I had any type of problem with the movie, it is maybe the damage control heel turn.
Mm-hmm.
I think you kind of voiced that already, though. Why?
I did,
and it kind of went away after I saw it again.
Yeah, because you know what you're in for now.
Well, yeah, like once that.
I kind of knew they were gonna be the bad guys, right? I mean, you kind of knew it.
Well, the metacasting of him is what made me realize. I was like, and he's gonna be evil.
And you knew Jean Grey was gonna be kind of like a mixed, she wasn't gonna be totally evil, so they needed something else. And I don't know. I kind of expected it the whole time, so it wasn't a great switch.
I don't even know if I should keep beating this dead horse, but it's just like, yes, Jamie, I agree. I think it's a problem that and they're not, and they're executing it the way they did. That's my point.
Right.
My point is, we know they're villains.
Yep.
And we know there's going to be a heel turn, but it's not dramatized in a way that makes us want Peter to figure this shit out. That's what I mean about the superior. They're not treating it like superior position is what it is. They're not giving us enough conflict around that, Jamie, around the fact that they're not treating them as untrustworthy allies is what it is. They're not dramatizing any suspicion from Peter about them being trustworthy. And then so when it comes to the reveal, which is at 104 minutes, it's just like, I don't know, it doesn't hold the weight that I feel like it could and should, because of that. Like if you had oriented us right from the start that they got this device, right, and Peter doesn't know, and then you just give Peter a little bit more juice of like, these guys, I don't know if I could trust these guys, based on their treatment of him, then I think it would hold more weight. And then that reveal at the end, that whole climax would just land differently. That's my whole thing.
I think they're the writers, the engine is that they assume people will be tricked by the heel turn.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you remember, so like Peter has the realization that Metzger was lying to him. That's treated with some weight.
It's like 100 pages. It's like 100 minutes in, and with no questions from him before.
Now, imagine a different era, and imagine if this was Samuel Jackson, and he was the guy who did the weapon. And he had a reason, like he needed to beat Thanos with it or something crazy,
Yep.
That would be a pretty big emotional turn, right? Because it would be set up in a way to make the heel turn heel turn, not just some random
gravity.
character.
They would give them gravity from the start,
right?
In a way that, I just mean, like,
if Tony Stark were the guy in charge of this thing, or something, whatever, it would just be a big difference. It'd be a big change.
It's the fact, I think I think I go back to Phantom Menace. What you said, Jamie. Jamie said you said that they thought that this would be a twist for people, right? They thought that the Jean Grey reveal would be a big shocker. They thought that the heel turn would be a big shocker, which is exactly what George Lucas did with the Sidious. Like, he's Sidious. Like, and because of that, if for me the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, this mystery is not a mystery, and like, why isn't, I don't know. That was the one thing.
Yeah,
and because it's given so much time, there's like 7 different lines where they keep coming back to it. Who is she? What does she want? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess they were really hoping for it.
They really thought it was going to be big. So anyway.
I think that part could probably work for people that have no clue. I almost wish I could talk to somebody who had no. I should have just asked my mom when she saw the movie. She would have no clue who Jean Grey is.
Yeah, well, that's
any of that. You know what I mean?
My sister and brother-in-law, they don't know who Jean Grey is. So to them, but honestly, that's the only interesting part of the reveal, because it's not like MJ is the villain, right? That would be
yeah, right.
Because that would be a pop. You'd be like, whoa, MJ's the villain. What's going on? But
there's no twist that is Jean Grey because they don't know who she is. So
it's kind of like what you said earlier. If it was just, Jean Blue, then we'd be like,
Mind Woman. That's what I said.
Yeah.
So, but again, I want to reiterate that you guys have made me realize that this is a detective story. This is why done.
Right.
So ultimately, it's okay that it remains a mystery, and that works.
Even the Riddler and the Batman, like there wasn't nothing interesting about that reveal. Like, oh, it's the Riddler. We knew it was the Riddler, right? We knew.
Yeah.
And when they finally showed the actor who played the Riddler, Tarantino's favorite actor, it wasn't like that. We already knew that coming in. It was kind of similar.
But he had a mystery plan that was revealed.
He had a mystery plan.
Mass shooting, which was problematic.
Right. Yeah.
So because it was a mystery, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
he had some bigger plan, as she does. She has like a kind of a bigger plan.
She does. Yeah. So again, I think it's difficult to execute. If you're out there listening, I think it's difficult to execute a mystery villain with a mystery plan and to proceed with caution.
I agree. I mean, like, I don't have a problem with it, but I agree,
Yeah.
But it's the marvel of it all really just is what throws
the marvel of it all. That's all right.
Really
I'm going to save that for Doomsday. When it comes up, every note, I'll just put the marvel of it all.
And to be fair, I feel like that's what the negative sentiment towards going into Doomsday is with everyone. It's just like, it's going to be too much of this kind of a problem. You know what I mean? Where everyone's like, yeah, we've had enough of it. This movie sidestepped that problem. For most people, obviously.
The weird thing about Doomsday, so to kind of riff off of like somewhere we're not supposed to go.
But we're not supposed to talk about it.
But Doomsday, the weird thing about it in my head is it feels like a culmination, but it's actually a setup.
Yeah, for just the next 25 movies.
It feels like
4 TV shows.
It feels like we're heading toward an end game event, but we're really heading towards a launch pad event.
Yes.
And that's what is kind of messing with my mind about Doomsday.
And that's what puts a sour.
Yeah, there's a certain
in my mouth.
All because one guy had to be fired. Right?
That's right.
It's a very we could do it. We could do hours on the MCU in total. The things that happened with the MCU in the last couple of years has been a mess.
We'll put a cap on that until the Doomsday episode.
Yes.
We're kind of talking about the one movie that has worked.
Yeah.
Right? This is the one that worked.
I think Thunderbolts, this, and I don't know.
But I mean, like, actually, like, brought them back to the top.
Yep.
Like, this is the only one. Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four did not.
You mean culturally?
Money and
like,
dollar signs too. I mean,
and dollar signs.
And the last Spider-Man, I guess, is also in this.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man. Like the backbone of everything is Spider-Man.
Strangely enough, I think Doctor Strange, which we also did, was money-wise okay, but a lot of people don't like that movie.
Almost 800 million. So
yeah, I think that was.
We liked that movie though.
I love that movie.
We liked it.
Yeah, people didn't like that movie. Well, do you want to talk? We talked about the superior position, right? So,
Yes, yeah,
do you,
yeah.
you want to talk about the last second handshake?
Yeah, so I did my Leonardo DiCaprio meme point to the screen when they did the
there.
handshake. The handshake. So if you haven't listened to 154 episodes of the show, this is like one of my favorite techniques. So what is a handshake? It's a shortcut for creating running relationship bonds and like gags. It's like a specialized routine or ritual that your character has either with one person or a group of people. And that ritual, that routine is how we track the progression or the regression of that relationship. And some examples that we haven't done big yet, it's on my list, but that's like my favorite one. It's quite literally a handshake because it doesn't have to be a literal handshake. But in big, it's what Josh uses to convince his friend that he's in the body of an adult, right? Like ice cream soda pop tastes like a lollipop, suck it in the stomach 2 more times. Yeah.
Hard not to think of big in this movie.
Yeah.
Really.
And I know. E.T. we did on the E.T. episode, E.T. and Gertie, their handshake is a guidance handshake. Be good. Gertie teaches E.T. how to say be good. And then E.T. says it to Elliot and Gertie later. And then in the end, when E.T.'s flying away, he says to Gertie, be good. And that's like how they showed the progression of their relationship, right? And if you want to know more about this, my favorite episode that we did this on was the Deadpool episode. Because Deadpool, not only did Wade have handshakes with every single character in the story, including the villains, even the side villains, he had 4 handshakes with Vanessa. And that relationship with Vanessa, they're only on screen together for a very short amount of time, but it hits so hard because of these 4 handshakes that they have in Deadpool. So I loved that the setup for this handshake is the rest of the movies in the franchise, right? So like, what does Peter use to trigger Ned and make him remember him? He uses their relationship ritual, their handshake, and it unlocks it undoes the spell. And that's like the last moment of the movie. And the reason that hits so hard is because of that relationship ritual handshake technique. So this is just like the perfect example of that.
It is a
literal
handshake.
So I was super pumped at the end. I was like, yes.
They do clip it at the beginning, right? They show them doing the handshake. So
they bury it, right? They don't make it.
They make it a big deal.
Like, So
the people that don't remember the previous movies, this scene is like Martha in the Batman Superman. It's just like,
Jesus.
I guess you could say it's a not so secret weapon to
a little bit to their relationship.
Yeah. To getting his friend back.
We call it a Martha.
I'll just call it that from now.
A Martha.
A Martha. Yeah.
You need a Martha here. This is missing a Martha.
We never did any DCEU movies, did we?
Not once yet.
No,
Wonder
we did
Woman.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. Man, I'm failing on the recall.
Yeah.
It's so, you know what? We're getting up there in numbers to the point where I'm starting to forget.
Oh, dude.
Totally.
It's nearly a decade, so you're forgiven.
Like, I could have sworn we did the previous Spider-Man, but then when you said we did Spider-Man 2, I was like, oh, I guess we did.
But
yeah.
Did
we do No Way Home?
In 2022, we did No Way Home. I looked it up while we were on here.
We did.
Yes,
okay.
2022.
Did we do Spider-Man 2 and then No Way Home? Is that what we did?
I don't know, but we did do Spider-Man 2.
I don't remember doing No Way Home. That's nuts.
That's what's crazy. So like this happens a lot to us. Listeners don't know, but like someone will discover the show and they'll be listening to an episode from like 2018 and they'll message us and they'll be like, what were you guys talking about with the theme, the moral premise of Get Out? And I'll be like, I don't remember what we said 2 episodes ago.
I don't remember what I said an hour ago. What are you talking about?
The worst ones are ones I thought we did, but we didn't do.
Yeah,
To me,
right.
that's even weirder. Like I'll be like, I'm pretty sure we did, and I'll see something, and it'll
So-
be like, no, we didn't do it.
I saw a friend the other day who was like, "Hey, did you guys ever do?" And he asked me some movie, and I said, "Oh yeah, we did." And then I was like, "No, wait, we didn't." I had to, didn't. I had to look it up, and we didn't.
Mhm.
I just said we did because we probably had talked about it on episode. Like I think it was RoboCop
Yeah.
or something, which we
Yeah.
should do. But
It's- yeah.
but I just assume we had because it's just like a big famous movie,
Mhm. Yeah.
But like it's like any Spielberg movie that we haven't done. If somebody asked me, I'm like, oh yeah, we did. No, wait. There's a lot of them we haven't done.
Oh my God. It's crazy that we've done so many, and then yet we haven't touched so many classics, so
Yeah.
many quintessential ones.
I'll tell you what, if you're an insanely rich billionaire who wants to pay all of our for everything in our lives, we'll do this way more often.
We'll do more often.
You just got to give us a huge sum of money.
That's right.
There you go.
We'll
God,
do
can
it-
you
we'll do it all.
imagine getting paid to do this? It's
No.
like, wow.
We can be like OnlyFans and do custom videos for one person. Like
But
that,
the price has to be pretty high.
they'll
I
like
think.
Super Mario Brothers in 1990s, and they'll pay us like a lot of money. And we'll just do
only
it for them.
scripts.
Only
Yeah.
scripts.
Well, we
That's right.
we talked about doing Super Mario. Remember?
I think we should do it on the Mario Day has become a cultural calendar day.
no, the guy that was
March
like
10th.
shout out to this guy. I don't know if he exists anymore, but he had like a Twitter account that he was like obsessed with the Super Mario Brothers movie from the 90s. And he messaged us
That's
and was like, I have every single version of the script for you guys. And we're like, yeah, that's not what we do, but I'm not
it would be a
reading-
completely different type of episode.
I'm
Yeah.
not reading
Let's
like
look at
7
draft number
versions of those drafts.
7 that the listeners can't see.
Right, exactly.
On page 52 of draft 4 that you can't see, they said this compared to page 55 on draft 5.
Also, like, is that something you even want to do? Hey, Jamie, do you want to do a podcast where you have to read 7 versions of the script of Super Mario Bros?
That sounds like hell, man.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
that
rough.
would be hard. That
I
would
don't
be
even know
hard.
what you talk about. It's terrible. But I think that's everything, right, guys?
Yeah.
Unless you want to talk about Doomsday.
We
That's-
will.
I don't really know much about Doomsday. I'm kind of coming to it cold. I feel
Terrible
like
trailer.
Jamie, Robert Downey Jr. is
oh really? He's back.
He's
Iron
back,
Man's back.
and he's
Huh.
mad.
That's weird.
No, he's not Iron Man, Jamie.
He's not.
What? He's not. How?
So in the comics,
How are they gonna
there
pull
was
that
Tony
off?
Stark being Dr.
I
Doom at one
know.
point or
I
something.
know.
But here's the thing, and I want to say this now, is that I hope that they have so much more up their sleeve than what they're teasing us with right now.
Mhm.
I'm hoping that what we see now is a fake out on the surface, and
That'd
there's
be
this.
awesome.
They've got actual like ideas other than expecting
Look.
exactly what we're getting.
Millie
They've
Bobby
made-
Brown will play.
Jean Grey 2.
Look, they've made plenty of great Marvel movies.
Sure. This is
so
the
it's not
38th
out of the
this
realm
is
of
the 38th.
possibility.
38th movie, I think, right?
I'm talking about the Russo brothers. Like,
Oh.
like it's not out of the realm of possibility that they could make another great one,
It's not. It's feasible,
Yes.
and I'm. This is just my opinion. We're not talking about writing. I have lost any faith I had in them over the interim years.
Because
And
of-
here's the
yeah.
thing. I know we all said we liked Multiverse of Madness, but there was a moment where they teased that Sam Raimi might do Doomsday and Secret Wars. And here's the thing. At least I would be excited about it. Because
Mhm.
I know that if anything, let's say the story wasn't up to snuff, it still would be Raimi behind the camera.
Yes.
And he has a voice that interests
Mhm.
me, whereas the Russos sadly do not.
Mm,
There's no markers of a Russo brothers style, in my opinion.
gotcha.
So at least if Raimi did it, I'd be like, it's a Raimi movie. It's him going buck wild with stuff. And he doesn't kind of care about any of this stuff. So it's even funnier. It'll be subversive and funny because he doesn't give a crap. But now you gave it to the guys who this has kind of been proven this is all they have left because everything they tried elsewhere was fucking terrible. And so it's
Listen
very
to the Electric
unexciting.
State episode.
Like the Gray Man. Did you watch the Gray Man?
Mm-mm.
Don't.
Jean Grey Man.
Jean Grey Man.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the sequel.
That's right.
Jean Grey Man. Yeah. Their inclusion is what makes me actually bored with it. So I'm more concerned about the filmmaker, but whatever. If it was Rami, wouldn't you be more excited?
Absolutely.
Yeah. At least you know it would be awesome looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you have anything you want to plug, Jamie?
Nope.
That you didn't
here.
already?
Nothing here.
Jimmy?
Yeah, I'll plug Genre Blast. So if you're a listener out there and you live somewhere in the vicinity of Winchester, Virginia, I'm gonna be the Genre Blast is Labor Day weekend. I believe it is September 3rd to September 6th, and it's an awesome festival that celebrates indie horror and sci-fi, and it's well attended. Like it takes over this Alamo Draft House for like 4 days, and the theater is packed, the lobby is packed, and everyone in there who's attending is either a writer or producer or director or all of the above of indie genre movies. And I've attended twice without anything in the festival. Once with Bob.
Actually, it was 2019. Was like before the world fell in the hell.
Before the world fell, and it was both times I went. It was so welcoming, like it was so fun. It was so like the vibes are so high. And it's just a great time.
You didn't have anything that year? I thought you had something.
Neither year. I just went to go
fun.
and be with a bunch of other people who make stuff like I make, and and some of the people that I've met there, I've kept in touch with, and others I've just followed along their journeys. And we talk on the show a lot about, you know, the importance of putting yourself out there and meeting people who make stuff. If you want to, you know, get your stuff out there and, or if anything else, if nothing else, just be inspired, right? So it's a great time.
Yeah, just to be able to. I mean, look, just you don't even need that. It's not always about you know, it could just be like talking to other.
You just go having fun.
Yeah, just have some fun. Man.
It's a great time. I highly recommend it. I'm gonna be there. I have two unproduced scripts that were that are nominated for best script.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. And Bob has.
I have a short in there. I'm gonna be there for probably one night and when my Friday, and I was actually surprised by it. I was happy that they liked it. So
yeah,
the guy, like I'm friends,
and I haven't seen this, so I'm like super pumped to see the short. I don't want.
It's less than 5 minutes, and you'll be glad it's that short.
Awesome! I'm so excited.
It's
like so. I wanted to get your take on this, Jamie. I mean, we're done the Spider-Man stuff, but we can bullshit for a few minutes here. So one thing that's weird about our profession is like you are encouraged or discouraged from talking about your works in progress. It's like a thing. Like you shouldn't be like putting like don't even like I don't have representation, but I did in the past. And it's like they want it unread, right? Like they don't want people to know about it. So it's like this weird thing where like you don't really get many opportunities to just like say, hey, I wrote this thing, even though like I don't have any funding for it or anybody packaged to it. I wrote it and here's what it's about, and I'm really excited about it. And one thing that's cool about these festivals, and there aren't that many festivals out there that actually have a category to submit unproduced scripts. It's like a rare thing. So that's one thing that's special about this. So I wanted to get your take on that. Do you find that frustrating, or do you like it that you like never get to talk about the stuff?
I think I don't worry and I just talk about stuff.
You do. You do.
Because I think you have to because every now and then you might hit somebody that's like, I know somebody that would like that. And most of the people I know that broke in, that's kind of how they broke in, is like they told somebody something and somebody said, I have a friend who's looking for this, and then they got connected. And I think if you never do that, you'll miss all those shots. I think it's a read the room thing. Like sometimes it can be very awkward. Like the worst part of that is like I remember I went on a water bottle tour once, and I had a co-writer who wasn't used to water bottle tours. And water bottle tours are when you send a spec out and everybody reads your script, they invite you in for a little meet and greet. It's like a date or something. And the writer I was with kind of thought they were supposed to pitch like the whole time. Like they were constantly trying to work their log lines into the
So they were doing the opposite. They were just like telling everyone.
And I don't think that's a good idea. Like I think, like, honestly, when I go to those meetings, my goal is not to pitch. My goal is to like have them pitch me almost, or something like that. And if they ask, if they say, what are you working on? Then I'd say it, but I wouldn't hesitate. I wouldn't hide it. I would definitely say it. And I think that's the kind of approach you have to take. You have to be ready to say the things you're saying, and feel free to share them. I don't think there's any, I always thought that the industry was more like you weren't supposed to say things in a public way, like
that's
Twitter
what I mean.
Or something.
Well, so that's I'm glad you shared everything, but that's what I meant.
Okay.
So
I'm
like,
sorry.
For instance, what I learned, so I was programmed in my 90s era. Like, so like I had an agent. I had an agent in the 90s.
Right.
And I don't anymore. After her, no offense to her, but like, just the experience rubbed me the wrong way, and I just didn't even seek out representation ever since. And any opportunities I've had, I've gotten on my own. But they were like, don't share it with anyone. Don't talk about it with anyone. Only me, you know?
Gotcha.
And I was I was programmed that you should never tell anyone anything you're doing. Like when I was 19, right?
Yeah.
And so that's all I knew.
Yeah.
And I was programmed for those 4 years, like, you can't tell anyone what you're working on.
I understand.
And
also,
like,
it's not the 90s anymore.
Right. I know, but it put the fear of God in me about like sharing what I'm doing. And so like what this experience has taught me is like something like this, like a festival. Cause I'm like you, Bob, like I've always had mixed feelings about the pay to play system. And I'm part of the pay to play system as a consultant.
You mean paying to submit, or
paying to submit to something you most likely won't get
right
like accepted into, or even if you get accepted, who knows what's going to come of that, but you just never know. It can't hurt is what I'm saying. But I always I always like was like, is it worth like why is everyone in the world submitting to these things? And like, this is the first time I've submitted anything in like a decade.
Really?
Because of that. Yes.
I didn't know that.
I've had films play, but just a script. I don't submit to like Screencraft. I never submitted to any of those things ever. So this is like the first time I was like, you know what? Like, let me just put myself out there. Let's see what happens. And I co-wrote it with John Squires. So it's not just my work. But like, I had mixed feelings about it. So what this experience has taught me that I wanted to share, the reason to talk about this is like, we've had a few people who have a little bit of clout. Who have been like, what is this?
What is this?
And the only reason that happened is because we posted social media. We shouted to the world, I have this thing that has nothing attached to it, no money involved. I got nothing except for a PDF, a paper document, and it helped. It's possibly helping. So it was eye-opening to me. I wanted to get your take on that.
So I came up with people that were like, don't tell anybody about it. They want to be in control. The agents and especially people from the old studio system, and the studio system's even different. Like, they don't want any information to go out that's not from them once your project's a thing, right? They don't want anybody saying we casted this, and obviously, but they're really strict on it. They're really strict to the point where if anything news leaks or anything, they come and start making phone calls and hunt down the culprit. And I've been on projects that's happened. And I've been on projects where filmmakers have purposefully crossed the line for reasons, to kind of manipulate. And I think that's in some ways what you're doing, but purposefully crossing the line, because how else is anybody going to know about your thing if you don't have an agent or something like that? So I personally do this all the time now, but with me, it's because I have so many projects that are dead, like in my graveyard. I love to post a first page Friday. I love to mention something like I had my backroom script. I posted like that, hey, I had a backroom script, just in case anybody wants to hit up. I recently posted another thing that I won't say because it has another writer along with it, but if you look at my social media, based on the news cycle, and guess what? Somebody reached out to me from a studio and said, I'd love to read that script.
There you go.
That's what I'm
if I didn't do that, that script would be in my hard drive. Now, that probably isn't going to get bought, but that led to meetings, general meetings, talk, blah, blah, blah. I mean,
that's fucking awesome.
I do it all the time. I do what you're saying I do all the time. Now, what am I cautious about? I'm cautious about like things that have other people attached, and they're the ones
relationships.
They're the ones I go quiet. And honestly, sometimes if my plan is to go out through my agent or something, then I'll keep quiet. I'll go out to the people that I want to go out. But then once that fails, then it's all bets are off. Who cares? I'll do anything to try to get somebody messaging me like, hey, I'd like to read that. And I feel the world's changed to an extent because while I do see some big script sales, especially in recent days, in the last few days, I don't think the old model of going wide and all that stuff, and what that used to be about was when you went wide, if somebody liked it, the first question they asked you, who's seen this? Who's seen it? Who's seen it? Now, when you go wide, everybody's seen it. It's like, well, we showed it to everybody. But they were very cautious. My agent, like if I sent my agent the thing and I said, he'd be like, who's seen this? And if I said, well, Blumhouse has seen it, and Ghost House has seen all the houses. James Wan has seen it. He'd be like less interested in sending it out because they're the ones he wants to sell to, and they already said no, right? They were like, meh, meh. So it used to be I was very cautious not to send to any of my contacts if I was going to go through my agent, because if I said one person saw it and didn't like it, he suddenly would back off. He'd be like, he might still send it, but he'd kind of be less enthused. He'd be like, oh, okay, this is some crappy script that nobody likes. But that going wide thing has changed, that now pretty much the thing is to go one place at a time. It feels like the world's changed, as opposed to like Jimmy George announcing, like, my new script is out. We're going out to 100 people on Tuesday, and on Friday, they're all going to make their decision how much money they're going to give me. That's the way it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. Even 10 years ago was a little like that. I don't feel, at least for me, it's like that at all anymore.
I mean, are there even 100 people?
That's a big part of it. There probably are 30 or 40 if you made a good list. Like I had a script that was going out through a producer, and they were financiers and co-producers and stuff like that. And they might have come up with a list of 40 people. But even that, it's a stretch. So it's not like it used to be with that. I think nowadays it's the world of just going out one at a time and finding the person that really likes it. And it's not so much if they really like it, they're not really worried about those other people. Maybe they're worried and this has changed too. Maybe back in the day, they might be worried, like if studios had read it. If studios had read it, it was dead. Because let's say Universal had read it and rejected it. Well, that means Universal's off the table, and that's like, 25% of the buyers, right?
Yeah.
And if a couple people bought it up at the top of the chain, then they'd be worried. But nowadays, I feel like you go through a person, sadly enough, they probably want you to work for free in development with them.
Yep.
And then after a long time, then they'll take it out to the people they know who will give them money to do it. And it's not like this whole thing where it's like, we can only go to Universal, we can only go to Disney, we can only go to they'll just go to some Canadian financier that's done 3 Oscar movies or something, or did the last 2 horror movies that came out. and so it doesn't matter as much. I mean, the long story short is it doesn't matter as much as you used to.
And so you're a fan.
I'm
Put yourself out there.
pro throwing your stuff out there and waving your hands and doing, especially if you don't have a plan to like go agent something.
Yes, like we don't.
Yeah,
I mean,
if you
full
don't,
disclosure.
I think you just gotta wave your hands. And honestly, it's a less. Here's the thing. So going back to the water bottle tour with my friend pitching everything, I think pitching things is more in your face, right? This is a more passive aggressive. They don't have to respond if you're waving your hands and saying you got a cool thing.
I mean, the algorithm probably won't even show it to most people. So
yeah, but there are a lot of producers that are scouting these kind of things.
Yes.
And if something catches their mind, they're going to say, bring it in, bring it in.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a producer yesterday, and I won't even say what this thing is or who this producer is, but they were talking about like an old Script Shadow. So Script Shadow had its moment. People who don't know Script Shadow.
Bob probably doesn't know that.
I heard you guys talk about it, I think.
Yeah, well, Script.
No, what he's gonna say.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Script Shadow is a site that used to review in production scripts, and it kind of got a bad name in Hollywood because it would review things that, like, you know, I read the Doomsday script. It sucks. Here's why. And
before Doomsday
came out.
Is that legal?
No, not really. But
okay.
He would kind of do it as a blog. And
it's just like what happened with Superman and Ain't It Cool News. Yeah.
Oh. And that was his whole blog. And he's kind of morphed over time. He's become a script consultant. He champions a lot of amateur scripts. He champions a lot of scripts. He doesn't like a lot of stuff. So
Carson Reeves is his name, right?
Carson Reeves. And if he likes something, he kind of champions it, and he doesn't like a lot. So that happens. So anyway, there was a script this week that sold for $1 million or something. They said seven figures.
No, it was seven figures.
Seven figures. And it was a 190-page medieval times period piece. And when you read about it, like how it
I
came
laugh
to be,
because that's exactly what we say not to do.
Yeah,
right.
Everything you say not to do. And he read it and really liked it. And he, as a consultant, he read it like what Jimmy does, what I do occasionally. And he really liked it. And he has more connections. He kind of has a thing than I do, that he champions scripts that he likes, or sometimes he champions them. And he writes about them in his blog, and a lot of industry people read his blog. So anyway, he was kind of the conduit that got them an agent, that then it went wide, and then it got in a bidding war. I don't think it got in a bidding war. I think whoever bought it preemptively bought it before anybody else could read it. So anyway, these first-time writers sold this big script for seven figures, medieval fantasy, period piece, 190 pages, okay? And I was talking to a producer about this week, and he said, I have a script that I went back to Script Shadow on because Script Shadow liked the script so much and this was in like 2019 or something, and they liked it so much that they contacted Script Shadow, got the script, and now they're involved in producing that project. So that's similar to what you're talking about. You know, it was some internet social media way, you know, that promoted the script. They didn't have an agent, they didn't have anything, and they got their script out there, and now it's out there, and you know, it's in some mode of development or production or something like that.
That's awesome.
So yeah, but it's definitely changed as far as that. Only the most like maybe if we were at like the Tom Cruise level or something like that, or we were at the Marvel level, I could see those people like being very concerned if you came out with material and how to send it out, and they'd want to be involved. Some of it is to justify their jobs and control, and it's just the way they were kind of
trained. Is what my agent was.
Yeah, there's a lot of control in that level. I mean, I know when I've had produced films, the producers suddenly really assert their will as far as like what anybody's allowed to talk about and stuff like that. And it can be very annoying, and it can, but you know, it's what they do. That's their job, and that's how they're trained. So,
I mean, the world's changed. Put yourself out there. That's really kind of it.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying I have experience where Jamie's talking about. I'm just saying, like, it would make sense to me, someone without that experience, to be like, Yeah, what do you got to lose?
I mean,
what do you have to
What
lose?
do you have to lose? I mean,
look,
you know,
look at a lot of the recent spec successes out there. We're talking about Reddit short stories and short films on YouTube and things, you know, people that are just throwing their stuff out there, and that's how they're found, and it becomes a big deal. That stuff didn't happen back when I started. It was Sundance stuff. You know what I mean? Like you had to go through the system, but now people are just throwing their stuff out there for free.
would Kane Parsons have made Backrooms if all of the original shorts were just scripts that he was not telling anybody
that
about?
he didn't show anyone.
Don't show anybody this. We got to take it out.
Don't tell anyone about it.
Yeah.
No,
just
instead
write
he made them
right in silence.
Yeah, right.
And even then, it took several years and weird connections. Like the guy I know kind of connected with him and got him to the next level. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't even like, it wasn't like James Wan called him up one night and said, "Hey, I saw your Backrooms thing. I'm going to make it a movie." It took a long time. Like he had 10 million followers, and then some other kind of middleman kind of talked to him and brought him in and showed him around, and it went through levels. So it's not even like a thing where, so anyway, I mean, I'm a believer in show your stuff. I am. There are reasons not to, but they're very specific reasons, and you'll know them if you're in those reasons. That's what I would say.
Show your stuff, finish your stuff.
Finish your stuff is number one.
Finish it and then show it to people. You know, like, okay, this has nothing to do with what you're talking about, but like the short that's in Genre Blast, right? I shot that like in 2023. So and then I didn't finish it for 3 years. And then I finished it, and it turns out that the people in charge of Genre Blast loved it. And I was like, okay, you know, whatever. I wasn't, because it's been 3 years. I was just like, I'm going to finish this and I'll just fucking whatever, you know.
See what happens when you finish.
Yeah. Yes. And it's cool that this little tiny thing, it's a pandemic short starring just me. So if any listener actually
now I want to see it even more.
Oh yeah, if any listener actually goes, this is normally never think that I'm making something that would apply to writers' blockbusters. It's less than 5 minutes, and it's stupid and nuts, right? So like, it's just starring me. But like, I finished it, and now like I could have just never edited that and just went on to something else, but I did, and now it's, you know, it's gotten like, it's gonna have a couple screenings and stuff with real people. Cool. Share the things that you do. Somebody will like it.
Exactly.
Somebody will like it. Your script or your movie or whatever. There's a lot of people that don't share shit. They just like have tons of ideas and then they never do anything.
Yep.
You know,
I was programmed to be like quiet about what you're doing. So.
Yeah, I even find that a lot of stuff can come back around now, like that you already showed off, like, and then 10 years go by and you just find the right person, and now all of a sudden it has new life and nobody remembers. You know, they kind of say, this is the one myth I feel, you know, they kind of say, oh, you only get one shot here, this and that, you got to make it perfect. Nobody remembers. Like I submit scripts to the same people and they don't remember, you know. You change,
I love it.
You change the name, you do a quick rewrite. Nobody, it's a different year. You know, I'm a different person than I was 10 years ago. And if I read something, I might like it now and I hated it then. I don't, you know.
I also think that applies to like your work, like not just scripts, but like, you know, everything that I release online, I make sure it's always backed up and it's failable. Because I'm like, someday somebody might stumble on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they might care, or it might go viral, or somebody might be like, hey, you want to make more of these for money?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it's something like that. So just like, if it's not available, then there's nothing.
Right.
It was all worthless. So I feel like this is a dumb lesson, but
no, it's not.
It's obvious though.
It needs to be said. No, it's not obvious, man. It needs to be said.
I mean, I've told this story many times, and I'll keep it really short. But some of my first scripts, my first option ever, I just posted log lines on a website, and somebody found it, and they were like, "I want to option this," and I got $10,000 option, and that was my first sale of a option of a screenplay, and it was just I just put like, "Here's my screenplays," and it was like 5 log lines, and they picked that one, and you'd think that would be a once in a million chance. 3 years later, the same thing happened, and that one became a movie. That was Adventures of a Teenage Dragon Slayer. Somebody actually made that.
That's so cool.
And it was I just had log lines on a website. It was before I had any reps or anything. Here's the weird thing. I think I even had reps by the time it became Adventures of a Teenage Dragon Slayer, and I still put my log lines up on a thing, and I was cautious. I was like, my hottest one, I didn't do it in case they saw it and said, "Who's read this?" But all the other ones, I just put up there, and it worked. I don't think it ever worked again. I think they were the last.
Doesn't matter. It worked.
No,
Yeah, it worked twice in the aughts.
I mean, Leah Thompson acted in a movie that you wrote. So
yeah, that's pretty
There you
cool.
go. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
also to bring it full circle to like something like Genre Blast, even if it's not, I mean, Jamie getting 10K for for an option, but like, you know, the reason that like a lot of the stuff that I did in the last like 5 years exists is because of people I met at festivals.
That's so
You know,
cool.
during the pandemic, I made a bunch of stuff with people I had explicitly met at Genre Blast and Bizarre Land Film Festival. Like both of those things led to me making things with other people that I wouldn't have known had I not shared my work
that's
those
a big,
things.
That's a big reason. You know,
Yeah,
that's a big
I mean,
positive.
Yeah, you make friends and then you make stuff with your friends, the new friends, you know, and they'll ask you to do stuff for them. Maybe maybe every now and then they'll offer you work, or you'll do something together that makes money, you know.
Like we said we've said in some Q&A episodes, I met Bob at a film festival. We had shorts playing
Is that
together.
how we met? Oh yeah,
Yeah,
right. Baltimore
at Baltimore City Paper Best
Sun
Short Film
or something
competition. Yeah, the
like
Sun
2-minute shorts.
Yes. Yester Messenger.
Yester
the one and
Messenger.
only movie, the only one and only thing we made where I'm the star. It's hilarious.
Oh right, yeah. Yeah, that's right. I forgot.
Story.
I forgot that was the first time we spoke.
Yeah, and then and then Jamie and I met because Chris was working on Jamie's thing. He was a PA, so yeah.
Yeah, if you want to be, I guess the kind of the moral is if you want to be in film in any way, you can just make like cell phone videos and be a filmmaker, but share them. Put them online. Like, maybe somebody will comment and be like, "You want to collaborate?" Exactly. There you go. There you go. Yeah, but like, yeah, I'm glad, Jimmy. I'm glad that you finally put a script out there and people
put it out there.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, you won the golden nuclear pen thing.
Well, that's because we had 2 scripts in there. Yeah, which is very cool.
Is that the parameter of that award is?
That's the parameter is if you had 2 scripts that were in their finals.
So you get the nuclear pen thing.
Got a nuclear. I mean, it's fucking awesome. I'll take it. Like,
right.
So yeah, you never know.
Yeah, share your shit.
Share your shit and come out to Genre Blast if you live near Winchester, Virginia. Bob's going to be there for one night. I'm going to be there. Maybe we'll hang out.
But like, don't be weird. Don't be weird about it.
We're not going to be able to drag Jamie there.
No. But come up and pitch those guys all your projects.
Oh,
they're
Jesus.
just going to hand us a print
I
out
have
of
no
log
money
lines.
or power to do anything.
I don't either.
Be sure to
obviously.
corner them. They say that, but that's just their gatekeeping. They have all kinds of power.
Honestly, I barely want to even talk about any like.
Bob has greenlit so many amateur projects and is like, don't believe it for a second. Just pitch him all your projects.
Basically, if you've seen it on Apple
Oh my God,
TV,
Bob! If you get like cornered with listeners,
how could
pitching
anyone
stuff,
watch my stuff? And
I'll take
that?
pictures and send it to Jamie.
One of my favorite.
Bob's
Look at what you did, Jamie.
He's especially interested in Hallmark Christmas movies.
Yeah, I love them. One of my favorite things about this show is that anything I've made is so not in the realm of interest to the people that listen to the show, and I love that aspect of it. And the idea of anyone showing up to watch my short from this show specifically, the disappointment on their face. Like, yeah, dude, it's not Writers Blockbusters type of shit. Okay,
where's the things that need fixing?
Yeah, right. Like, no, there's none of that. Don't worry about that. We're not doing that.
It doesn't have an opening and closing image.
It's like you don't even care about the agents of change. Right? Like, it's like
I watched his 5-minute short.
I don't even know what the hell happened.
Change.
Yeah. What the fuck was that? I do, but it makes me like it more because I'm like the thought of anyone listening to the show and then what the hell was that?
Yeah.
That's almost makes me love it more.
What's the landscapes one again? You should
Soothing
pitch that
family
while you-
landscapes. I didn't submit that. If I submitted that, I think it would have gotten to Genre Blast, but I didn't.
I love that short. So
Right.
for
It
what
actually,
it's worth.
and that has some, stuff and setups and payoffs and everything, but it's like, I don't think the people that listen, we don't know, but the people that listen to our show aren't thinking about that. You know what I mean? That's not
Yeah.
what they're doing. They're not doing whatever that is. So
Yeah.
I'm prejudging our audience, so it's probably they probably have an eclectic taste. So
Yes.
yeah, it's not a script. It's not like an Oscar paid drama. Let's just say that. Yeah. Anyway, Doomsday is gonna suck. All right. I think that's probably everything. Jimmy, you got to go
that's
eventually.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to plug just real quick, plug the email?
Yeah. If anybody has any questions, or anything you want to ask us, you can email us at writersblockbusterspodcast@gmail.com.
Cool. All right, everyone, have a brand new day. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, this is Bob Rose, and thank you for listening to Writers Blockbusters. If you'd like to financially support the show, please consider joining my Patreon. I've been producing the podcast for several years completely out of pocket, and I'd like to keep producing it ad-free and no longer at a loss. If you'd like to help, head on over to patreon.com/Bob Rose Sucks. That's right, Bob Rose Sucks. And if you want the one and only Jimmy George to help polish up that writing project you're kind of struggling with, head on over to scriptbutcher.com. As a listener, you already know he's the best there is, scriptbutcher.com. You can also support the show by simply sharing it or leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate both. Thank you for listening, and see you next episode.